Greetings and salvations. This is Unthoth Neverborns, the abyss that slumbers, and you are listening to the 100th episode of the Redeye, the show where we dare to ask the question, do you want to be starting something? The answer to this question and many more will be answered by our panel of experts, including Omega, the man who built a 50-foot tall robot of the King of Pop that wanders the Nevada desert to this very day, MC, who indeed is going to be starting something, and Mad Dodge, who is, according to 23andMe, ethnically speaking, Amemasama Masakusa. Of course, that does make him an ethnic minority, identical to Michael Jackson at this time, so you will need to turn in your whiteness card, and from now on, you are eligible for many benefits through the various forms of diversity in our United States of America. Welcome to the 100th episode. Yeehaw.
Guys, thank you very much for that wonderful intro, Eldritch. I appreciate it. This is the 100th episode of the Redeye stream. How did we survive this long?
I don't know, but Jensen Quinn is looking for the Naked Jello wrestling.
Yeah, well, you better keep looking, my friend, because you will not find that here.
I think we were going to schedule that, but it was budget overruns. Somebody was using Knox gelatin instead of real Jello, and that stuff. Well, the difference between Knox gelatin and real Jello is kind of like the difference between whipped cream and gnawing on wood. It really got stuck in some interesting places, and we just couldn't get the wrestlers to come back. So
the splinters were kind of worrisome. Is that what you're saying?
That would be one way to look at it. Yes. Well, do we want to jump into your questions, or do we want to hit into some weird topics? Because I got some of those for you.
I want to talk a little bit about Austin Peterson, just because we were talking about that off air, and I think that race over in Missouri is actually quite interesting. Don't you, MC?
Well, I mean, the problem with looking at these races is, to be honest, is you can't trust anything you're hearing. I mean, if you're going to try and follow a race and how well a candidate is doing or not doing, you really don't know, because you can't trust any of the polls, right? You don't really know. Now, I do, as I was saying, I think that his strategy of focusing strictly on Claire McCaskill, who is the incumbent trying to keep her seat, all right, in a very red state, I think that's the right strategy to have, right? Because it keeps focus on who you're trying to defeat. One of the problems that a lot of the Republicans had in the debate with Trump was they would focus on Trump to the exclusion of the Democrat that they were running against. And while Trump would make comments like, little Marco and, and his commentary about, Jeb Bush and so forth, low energy Jeb Bush, he never lost focus on Hillary, and he kept hammering Hillary. All right. Every stop that he made, he mentioned and focused on Hillary. He would take a jab at, his Republican opponent here and there, but his main focus was, one, what his message was, and two, jabbing who his opponent was going to be in the election, not in the primaries, in the general election, not in the primaries, and it worked for him. And I think that what you're seeing is him following the same strategy here.
Yeah, well, I mean, Austin Peterson obviously was watching that race because he was running for president for the Libertarian Party. He just didn't make the convention. They chose Gary Johnson, which I think was unfortunate, to say the least. But when you're talking about Austin Peterson, he's not a Republican. Why is the other Republicans in the primary not jabbing him on that? I'd be like, hey, look, he was running for the president for the Libertarian Party just 8 months ago, or not, a year ago. Why aren't they attacking him on that? Because it seems like an easy way to jab him, to me anyway.
Okay, but the problem is you had the same opportunity, and that was brought out about Trump. Did it work? The reality is that the Republican base fractured, all right, and the Republican base is very intolerant for those people who at any point in time can be seen as quote unquote normal Republicans. If you're part of the establishment Republicans, you are going to lose.
Well, no, and Austin Peterson is anything but establishment. He's already been kicked off Facebook because of these AR-15 giveaways, and now he's on his second giveaway for this gun. And he's not. You don't have to donate to his campaign. After you sign up for the raffle, they do ask for a donation. But, I mean, it's not anything you have to do. He is literally just raffling away free guns. Like, how can you not like this guy? Unless you're David Hogg.
Well, if I was other Republicans, I wouldn't point out he wasn't a Republican because, well, let's be honest now, as you pointed out there, the Republican Party as a whole, that'd be an endorsement. He's not one of us. Everybody would go, really? He's not one of you? Oh, awesome. Like let's be real here. That they're not saying he's not a Republican because that will help him.
Yes. That's exactly what my point was as well. You're not dealing with after the way the Tea Party was treated, right? The way that Trump was treated, all right. The way the electorate, the electorate has been treated. What they want, all right, from the Republican side is they want people to go in there, roll up their sleeves, and mix it up. This is why Trump won. Is he wasn't seen as a non-fighter. He was seen as the ultimate fighter. He would make a point specifically on immigration, and when the press tried to bash him about it, he would double down on it. Right? When they would try to say, well, what do you think about the Mexican president's commentary about this? He goes, the wall got 10 feet higher, right? And people cheered this. Okay. They want somebody that's not going to be PC, that's not afraid of the press, and is willing to take them on. Okay, and the same thing applies. And when you're talking about a red state, specifically Missouri is a fairly red state. It's a fairly conservative state. It's very rural. All right, it has two huge blue areas. The biggest, of course, being in St. Louis. The other one, of course, is Kansas City. However, the rest of the state is still very conservative.
Yeah, on a lighter note, as a kid, that confused the shit out of me. Kansas City, Kansas, and Kansas City, Missouri. That shit irritated the fuck out of me.
Well, you know why that happened, Mad? Because you Americans stole all our names, and it was hard for you to come up with new ones, so they just reused them many times.
It isn't. Kansas City, Missouri, and Kansas City, Kansas are literally the same city on different sides of the Missouri River.
I know, and it fucking irritated me in middle school, dude, to no end.
So it's like that movie, A River Ran Through It, then?
Yeah, basically.
You're in the UK, right? Are you in the UK?
Yeah, I am indeed, Mr. Bob.
Okay, well, Aldrich Scott, but this accounting.
It's you. Oh, right.
Now remember, I just want to point out something. In your country, there was a hill, and somebody invaded that area, took it over, and called the locals and said, "What that called?" And they said in their native language, "It's hill." And so they said, "No, now it's hill," and then they named it hill in their language. And that place got conquered like 4 times. So somewhere in your country, I believe there's a place that, if you translate it into English, is hill, 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 hill. So you don't get to mock our Kansas City that much.
Is it hilly?
Just because someone had a stutter.
You mean where he went up the hill to conquer and then he came back down and went up to...
No, 4 different cultures conquered the same hill, and every time they conquered it, they renamed it and just added the word hill in their own language on the end.
Help me, English people. What am I considering where I think of the guy marched up the hill and he... Oh, come on, man. It's a kid's...
Jack and Jill.
Sounds like
Jack and Jill.
No, King.
Come on, voice. I know you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, it don't matter. I'll think of it later. I'll look it up. But there is a famous general, or whoever he was, a military leader there that, he marched up the hill and he marched back down again. I don't know. It was a big...
Do they have Jack and Jill's on hill?
All I could say is 100 fucking episodes, man.
It was the Grand Old Duke of York.
Yes. Here's to you, Mad Dodge Productions. God bless you and your family, going all the way back to General Lee. Long live the South. May she rise again.
Yes, that's right, Mad. Celebrate your past slave owners.
Congratulations on your big round number.
Yeah, you know what sucks though, voice, is I would love to be able to deny that, but my family owned a freaking plantation outside of Shreveport. All right, so yeah, I can't deny shit.
Congrats on the 100, Mad Dog. Really. It's
Yeah,
fucking
thank
awesome.
you. Yeah, we only got kicked off of one channel, so we'll see if this channel survives 100.
Only one.
It won't if we share certain memes.
It's true.
Speaking of which, have they ever gotten back to you on that? With any kind of answer as to what they're looking at?
I thought they did, but then when I read it, they were like, it seems to us that you can log into your account. I'm like, fuck you. I didn't ask about logging into my account. So I wrote them back and showed another screen capture and nothing again. So whatever. I'll wait. What is it? Only
do
2
an
months
episode
now?
on it.
Hey, congratulations, man. I can't get noticed for nothing. I like post entire Nazi jokes where I'm talking about burning Jews. And they don't even notice I exist.
I got over 1,000 and then I got super chat and then they took away my live streaming. So that was nice.
Oh, that might be it. That might be it. I'm too small to be noticed.
As soon as money's involved, it's GG.
Yeah,
I just
no,
want
and
to say, memes, your Kickstarter isn't going to work because of the politicians don't even read the laws that pass. They're not going to read a book.
Well, I give them a DVD that may or may not work.
No, send it in Braille. Send it in Braille.
No, it's the sheer fact that they'll receive it because President Trump did the same thing for our house over here. We're just reciprocating.
Well, Mad Dog had a good idea. What he was thinking about doing is just going into the halls of Congress and handing each of them, or putting on their door, the Constitution.
yeah, man, I think that would be a great idea.
Wait,
Yes,
what's
what's that?
I think a better idea would be to send Nicholas Cruz to your House of Congress, but that's just me.
I ain't sending Nicholas Cruz fucking anything. He's getting enough fan mail from those fucking chicks that like school shooters. Isn't that some creepy shit?
Wait, Senator Cruz is doing a good job, or at least on some stuff.
No, Nicholas Cruz. Not
Who the hell
Senator
is-
Cruz.
What?
There's a difference between Ted Cruz and
oh.
Nicholas Cruz.
Oh, I
No, they're the same person. They're the same goddamn person, I'm telling you.
No, the other guy didn't watch enough porn.
No, I thought Ted Cruz was the Zodiac killer. He can't be Nicholas Cruz also.
We want answers.
Why couldn't he be? See, maybe he's one of those freaking aliens. One of those lizard people. Yeah,
The
that's what it
disguise
is.
is too
Lizard. He's a
horrible,
lizard.
though.
He's one of the lizard people, and he just changes his disguise.
I thought he was in Scientology.
No, it's Tom Cruise.
Oh, Tom Cruise.
Yeah, Tom.
It's all the same. Don't you understand? They had to keep the last name so they didn't get confused.
I thought that
That's
Senator
fucking good.
Cruz was gay.
Have we seen them all in the same place at the same time?
See,
Oh,
you haven't seen them all together.
we might need to explore this,
could be
MC.
And now for the conspiracy point of the Mad Dog show.
No, Eldritch, you said you had some weird news. Throw one out there. Let's talk about it.
All right, I'll give you a choice here. You can start with Far Cry 5 and the fact that it's not racist enough. Nurses forced to announce their white privilege to Indigenous people in Australia. Playboy quitting Facebook. Pope Francis saying there's no hell. Or we can talk about Walmart is stop selling Cosmo in the checkout line because of sexism.
Well,
I
I
think
will
me
go.
and memes would be happily talk about Cosmo.
Well, I
we
will
did that
go.
last night.
Far
will-
Cry.
No, I will take Pope for 500.
But the
All
Pope
right,
would
we
only
can
take
go
you
with
if
the
you're
Pope
12.
one. It's pretty straightforward, although I've been having a hard time confirming that this actually happened. It might be secondhand information, but apparently the Pope has started saying that God forgives everyone, so there is no hell. There's just the disappearance of sinful souls. And in my personal opinion, every time I hear about this new pope, he is like the SJW
I was about to say,
of Catholics.
That
He
is
really
some,
is.
That is some PC shit if I've ever heard something.
I love
Holy
Pope
shit.
Francis.
You
I
just
think-
disappear. You just disappear.
Well-
You just go away. All your
Well,
sins.
Well, that's
Okay.
just purgatory.
Well, no.
Purgatory was abolished like 20 years ago or something.
Follow me on this one. Follow me on this
It
one.
was.
There was a guy who had a prophecy for all the popes, right? He was I don't know, I think he was becoming a priest, and during the ceremony he like blacked out and just started rambling fucking names and shit of all the popes, right? And then at the very end there was this false pope. Could that be this guy? Like, he is the false pope that was prophesized.
What was
He
the
will be
last
the
name?
end. He didn't say last names. What he said was like images and stuff, like what's on their coat of arms or something to connect them, to the prophecy.
The
Like all
Roman
prophecies,
Catholic
it was
Church
vague.
is the beast power of Revelation 13.
Actually, I
Well,
do
of
think I
course a
remember
Jew would
hearing
say
about
that.
that. I'm not sure if this one lines up with that policy, but I will say this: this guy is. I don't know where he's coming from. He is
He's
like
fucking nuts.
there isn't
he's from
anything
Argentina.
Catholic about him.
He's fucking crazy. He just dissed 2,000 years of Catholicism. I don't like Catholicism. I was telling you the truth. Look at Revelation 13, Revelation 14, the harlot that sits on the back of the dragon. That is the Catholic Church. It's pretty. I mean, all you gotta do is read it. And well, who gives a shit, right? I don't give a fuck. All I'm saying is that this person, because that's my mythos, and who gives a fuck about my mythos? It's just what I believe. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make 2 pennies worth of shit. But now the Pope, the dope, I couldn't believe it. Holy fuck. Eldridge God, you have been more consistent, and I watch a lot of your shit than the fucking Pope. What are we coming to?
I honestly think that at some point what happened is somebody sat down as an advisor and told him, we need to start bringing in the kids. We're not getting enough kids in. And the Pope looked over and said, what? We need more children to molest? No. I'm talking about demographics
no
here.
hell.
People are getting too old.
No, yeah, and he was like, oh, we're not molesting them? Well, there's no hell. That will get the kids in.
Yeah, and there's no
I don't think that has anything to do with it. I think this guy's been like this from the very beginning.
Well, I think,
He was very much a controversial pick from the word go.
Well, he's the people's pope.
The last 2 picks were controversial, if I remember correctly.
the last one quit, which was unheard of. Like, you've never heard of a Pope quit.
Wait a minute. No, it has happened before
and stuff, but that's okay.
There was
No,
was a pope that
it's only
abstained.
happened one time, and that Pope was being contested. Eldridge is, I don't even know the fucking guy, so I'm kissing his ass. I'm just telling him he is correct. It has never happened that an uncontested Pope, folks. That's the thing here. So yeah, we can look back, and I think it was 400 years ago, where there were 2 popes, and they settled on one. But hey, man, it has never happened. The Ratzinger, you know why he quit? He was fucking every underage boy up the asshole he could get a hold of. That fucking pervert.
I'm not sure that's confirmed, but
We do know that guy was sneaking out to get pizza.
Pizza, and he wiped the map up with his napkin.
Well, to be fair, Mr. Ogre, there's only been one uncontested president in United States history. It's General Washington.
Oh, that's true. That is true.
Yeah, you had.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not slamming, Christianity or any Judeo-Christian beliefs. I'm slamming this Pope because he just is not. I mean,
could it
bizarre.
could it be what you said? If you have a bunch of young folks, and if you're going by very strict doctrine, they're looking about their college life or just basically young adult lives and being like, well, if I'm going to hell, what the hell does it matter? So I mean, maybe trying to be more inclusive.
Well, I mean, there is also, the Pope had said that there's nothing in the Bible that says there can't be alien life. And if a UFO showed up and a Martian got out, he would baptize him himself.
The Bible says there is alien life, Mad Dodge. I mean, God is not from this planet, right? By definition, would be alien.
Yeah.
The Bible is rife with alien presence.
I do have a fear about what this all means, actually. My fear is that what we're looking at is a lot of priests They go to college before they become priests. They go through these trainings. And my fear is that a lot of this Marxist bullshit that you hear about in all the colleges has gotten into the Catholic ones too. And you're just looking at the end result of decades of mind washing, really.
It's been that way for a while. There's been a lot of complaints.
Well, I didn't think it was in the Catholic colleges.
Well, are you kidding me? Oh, wow. I mean,
the Jesuits. Tell them about the Jesuits, MCJK.
The Jesuit curriculum, all right, has been being contested repeatedly by people, especially in places like Notre Dame and George Washington University. I mean, it is rampant in the U.S., at least in the U.S., on how bad this has been. And this Pope actually is one of the popes that they were trying to support, that they were pushing. Now, this Pope, of course, comes from Argentina, but he always has been I'm going to be real blunt. He's been
that explains leftist. More of it then, because I didn't have those pieces of the puzzle.
Oh yeah, there's been fights about this. I mean, especially for with their commentary for abortion and things. I mean, not too long ago, you had that woman who was part of George Washington. What was it? Yeah, George Washington University, UW University. All right, who was complaining because of her wanting them to pay for the abortion pill, not the abortion pill, but for contraceptive pills, right? And it was pointed out to people that she was a student at George Washington University, right? And so they immediately went to George Washington University to ask about this, and it created a shitstorm because many people hadn't realized how bad it had gotten. All right, where they were like, "Oh no, we fully support this." It's like, wait a minute, that's totally against the teachings of the Catholic Church. How are you okay with this? So it's been quite a row actually within the Catholics themselves. Now, outside of that, outside of the Catholic Church, outside of that, I mean, the media would report it. Whether or not it had any effect on anything, I seriously doubt it, because that became a big push or big sticking point between several people. I mean, her name was out there versus, I think, George Bush and somebody else. I'm trying to think. Was it Rush Limbaugh? Somebody else. That's where the fight basically centered around.
Well, gotcha. I was raised Catholic, and I always thought the contraception issue, like, I agree with that when it comes to abortion, but condoms, like, they have a lot of missionaries in Africa with a lot of AIDS going around, and they're saying don't use condoms. It's against God's will. That's not necessarily a good fucking way to go.
No, of course not.
Well, what would happen if you have unprotected sex?
Well, the thing was,
fun?
Well, aside from that,
bareback. No, fun.
Cheap shot.
Don't be sorry. Bareback is fun, baby.
In the African communities that they're talking about specifically, I'm going to be real blunt. They're no different than the freaking Asian rape gangs. They really aren't. Where basically they're forcing women to have sex with men, and what's worse is that they know that they have a communicable disease, and they don't care.
I have to notice right now that I am one of 9, so I'm going to leave. The reason why? Because some other people want to join and would just join, and I want to listen to all of you all, and everyone here has heard me talk far too long. God save the Queen!
Bye, Europhile.
Catch you later. Shall we move on to a new topic?
Happy Passover.
Yeah.
Happy Fool's Day.
Good Friday as well.
Wait, it's Passover?
So happy birthday of Sultan Mehmed II.
Yeah. This is Good Friday. It is also the first day of Passover. And as a celebration, the Palestinians en masse attempted to march on Israel. 1,000 people have been injured and over a dozen killed.
Oh shit, I'm a horrible Jew.
Well, imagine my shock.
Do the happy mass uprising dance.
Yeah, what the fuck? Memes. Don't you know you're supposed to be over there shooting Palestinians right now? You missed an opportunity. What the fuck?
Well, I mean,
why would I shoot people? I don't know.
Because they're invading your holy land.
I thought they were marching.
Did they at
There's
least
a
keep
wall.
There's a wall.
There is a wall, and they were protesting trying to take the wall down. That's true.
Did they at least keep with the Jewish tradition of looting the bodies and taking their foreskins when they were dead?
Jesus.
Wait,
Seriously, they actually
wow.
did that back in the day. They took their
Oh.
foreskins.
I thought those were Mormons.
Maybe the more militant ones.
Wait,
Oh, no, I
remember.
remember something about. Oh, wait, maybe that was different.
well, no, I just want to know, when they were trying to tear down this wall, did they yell, "Tear down this wall"?
I don't know. I don't think the Israelis let them get close enough to do that, to be honest.
It's a well-built
You
wall.
see, you have to remember, when Israelis and Palestinians kill each other, the world wins.
Spoken like a true stormtrooper.
Well, that's not good.
Well, I mean, there might be, innocent people, right, MC? Innocent people.
Yeah, there's lots of innocents that are out there. Aside from Mad Dodge, who I informed of this, who here knows about the USS Liberty?
Is that one where I was too young to know?
Well, it was in the past. You're right. You were probably too young.
The U.S. because I was talking about the USS Cole.
Yes, but no, the USS Liberty was much before that. Does anybody on the panel know about the USS Liberty?
I know it was.
It's like a ship.
It was in Israel. I know that, or some shit. I don't know. Right.
Okay. Yep. No, you're right. Okay. The USS Liberty was one of our communication ships, aka one of our spy ships. All right. During the 1967 war, just prior to its kickoff, the Israelis were worried that we might inform the Arabs. So they basically sank it with the U.S. sailors on board as they were waving at the Israeli pilots coming in because they thought the Israelis were friendlies.
What?
You hadn't heard about this yet?
Yeah.
Why?
Ooh, that's news.
Well,
I feel guilty now. Sins of my
it
ancestors.
It would have been news in 1967 when it happened, but it's one of the things that the American people don't know about really well because people don't talk about it. People don't realize that Israel hasn't always been the best of friends to the United States.
Well, it was a mistake.
No, it wasn't a mistake.
No, it was deliberate, but
It wasn't a deliberate
they had it
attack.
coming. They had it coming.
Oh my
If you
God.
only knew what they were, they were broadcasting pornography. You didn't know that, did you?
Holographic pornography.
And in 1967, it was really good.
Yeah, it was all that British porn that they were transmitting into the state of Israel.
So why was this ship struck?
Because the Israelis were worried that we might inform some of the Arab states that they were getting ready to attack.
No, the real reason is that it was full of goyim Gentile dogs.
So why didn't they say, please don't say anything?
The Israelis did, which is why we didn't say anything.
But then they sunk the ship.
Oh, that was after the fact.
What? But my words.
My word. Same.
It's the NAP.
All the trivia
It's
you
the
learn on this
NAP.
channel. It's amazing.
It's the NAP.
Yeah,
Wood can stay forever.
if you look it up on Google, all right, there's several things that was pointed out, but it actually really didn't get reported until the book called The Puzzle Palace was released.
Well, why wasn't it reported if soldiers lost their lives?
And they weren't soldiers; they were sailors. But
okay, why weren't those naval men?
Sailors are lower than soldiers. Okay.
Because evil.
I think the proper term is
Military
seaman.
personnel were killed.
Yes,
Evils.
they reported that there was an accident.
But it was deliberate.
No, yeah, it was very deliberate. They
It
didn't
wasn't an
report it.
accident.
Okay, I'm gonna help you out here. The government lied to everyone.
Yes, they didn't even report that the Israelis shot it. Okay.
So it was fake news.
Yeah, they literally reported fake news that the United States that these sailors died in an accident on the
That's
ship.
why I likened it to the USS Cole, because we didn't know for like a couple months what the fuck was happening. If
But
anyone remembers that.
Oh, I do. I was quite aware of what happened to the
Oh
goal.
no, I mean I was there, like 20 minutes away. I was there.
But
So what you're saying is that the U.S. government responded to Jewish tricks with American tricks.
Well, in the chat,
Oh, quit this guy.
Sardonic7 said the government in charge at Israel at the time was kind of militant and kind of nuts. They wanted to make the USA blame the Egyptians for the attack. Is that true, MC?
Oh
It's
shit.
kind of hard to blame the Egyptians for the attack when there's Israeli flags on the jets, and they were American jets that we had given to Israel. It's kind of hard to misidentify them.
Ouch. Yeah.
Wait, so one of our naval ships was struck down by a fighter produced in the United States of America.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that about sums it up.
Well, it's not
I
like
think-
we've
I
ever
think it
given
was one
weapons
of
to
our-
anybody
I
and
think-
it's gone wrong.
I think it was one of ours, or it could have been one of the French Mirages. They also flew the French Mirage at that time. But there were survivors, but they were considerably they were very worried that we would side with the
Well,
Arabs.
according to Wikipedia, only about 34, along with 171.
What better way to convince America not to join the Arabs to attack Israel than to sink one of their ships?
Well, you got this. Okay,
Isn't that how the Vietnam War supposedly started?
There's a secondary reason for this. All right, why would the Israelis think that we would tell the Arabs? All right, the reason they would think that was how we reacted to the invasion of the Suez Canal, where we basically in the UN forced the British to retreat after they tried to seize it from Nasser and the Egyptians. Okay, we weren't informed about it ahead of time. When they did attack, they just assumed that the United States would support, the incursion with Israel. It was an incursion with Israeli, French, and English forces to seize control of the Suez Canal to prevent the Egyptians from taking control over it. Unfortunately, for the action, the United States said, "No, this can't stand. You have to retreat." And basically, of course, now that the Suez Canal fell completely within the bounds of the Egyptian control, right, out of UN control now it was totally under Egyptian control. All right, so the Israelis had reason to believe that we would inform Egypt that they were getting ready to attack because we had reacted that way, in the UN, which surprised them and shocked everybody. But that's old history. Sorry.
Well, speaking of old history, I think this will be a good moment for the first of many quotes on this stream. So, this is what I like to call "Guess the Bigot." So, all right.
Me.
I say the quote. I say the quote. You tell me who said it. All right. So, Kafirs are, as a rule, uncivilized. The convicts, even more so. They are troublesome, very dirty, and live almost like animals. Guess the bigot. What say you guys?
Sounds like
Nelson Mandela.
James Woods.
Oh, close, but not quite. Close.
Gandhi. It's got to be Gandhi.
Yeah, Gandhi for the win. That is Gandhi.
He's British educated, which is why he talks like that. It's got to be Gandhi.
All right, yeah, Wood got it. So that was Gandhi. I could do another one, or we can go on to another topic and just use it as a little intermediary. All right, I have one. I have one here. Never trust a Jew. I already told MC the answer, so he's disqualified. Who said that?
Martin
Nobody?
Luther King
Wait,
Jr.
Never trust a Jew. That's the quote. Never trust a Jew. Who said it?
Karl Marx.
No.
Well,
Stalin.
Can we have an era?
Can we have an era? electricity was around, just becoming around at that time.
Abraham Lincoln.
Tesla.
Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah, there was no electricity for Lincoln, but yeah, it was Nikola Tesla on the Jewish people.
Oh crap! I forgot about that. That it was.
I was about to say
the
Elon
electricity. I know that Abraham Lincoln wasn't around with electricity. Ugh.
All right, new topic.
Yeah, I think Wolfshot wanted to talk about that Far Cry story.
Oh
Okay.
no, yeah. I was like, I don't know, like what's going on. I just want to hear about what's going on. Sorry.
Well, as a summary, real quick here, I don't know if you know about the Far Cry, but there have been a lot of reviews that people go, hey, it's a pretty good game. Hey, I like it a lot. Hey, they got some good stuff. Man, they did some great work with that music. And then there's a whole other category of reviewers who come along and go, but they just didn't go far enough about the politics and how bad the alt-right is. And the more that you read these reviews, the more you realize that there's a dedicated class of game reviewers who think that the problem with the game is that it wasn't political. I'm sorry.
because they
Personally,
all work
I don't want
polygon.
politics in my games. I want fun in my games. You don't
Hey,
have
I'm
to
just-
make
I'm just sitting
everything
here.
political.
I remember when BioShock Infinite came out, everyone got really upset because they were calling black people nigger in the game, and it got shut down, protested for like 2 days. It was the dumbest shit, and the game is set in like 1910. So, what the fuck? Sounds like the same kind of shit with Far Cry.
I think it's the last gasp of the gaming industry reviews because they're like going, oh, this isn't political enough. I mean, seriously, who wants their game to be political? Nobody does. You want your game to be fun. If it's fun, if it's got a weird theme where it's got a bunch of rednecks, you go, oh, wow, it's a bunch of rednecks. But if you're going, it's just the theme of it, that's great. When you go, here's a bunch of rednecks and periodically they stop to talk about how they're evil, you go, that makes no sense. And that, I think, is what the problem is. If most people, they go, hey, yeah, it's a really good game. And then you get to these left-wing nut jobs.
Well,
That's the
Mario was
problem.
political.
Well, I think
Okay.
there's
Mario
there's-
was political. Could you explain that memes?
Oh,
it was
yeah,
toxic meritocracy.
No, it's about genociding turtles and eating a bunch of flowers and mushrooms.
They're going to say it's the Japs brainwashing our kids.
Oh, and they were
No,
Italian.
that's Pokemon.
Okay. Didn't Mario, excuse me, didn't Mario start off as a character trying to get the stupid ape in Donkey Kong?
Well, yeah, but they got a promotion.
I somehow
Excuse me,
don't.
Super Mario Bros.
No,
It's about
Mario was
stomping
trying to
on
get the
dragons'
princess.
heads, and I am against stomping on dragons' heads unless warranted.
Oh, is that
Dragon
what
Lives Matter.
So we got a priority scheme here, is what you're saying.
I might be biased.
I don't mind politics in my games as long as it's a good game.
Well, there's a different. Well, that's their point. It's a good game that doesn't really have a message. I mean, it just has groups in there who do their own thing. It's about a cult, but it doesn't really like hammer home anything.
Well, someone's taking it and applying it to the context that we're seeing in the current iteration of politics in reality. I mean, is this any different than kind of more of a very more progressive, call it an SJW, quote unquote, if you would, game, and folks in the quote unquote skeptic community shitting on that? Like, is that any different?
Probably not.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I think Wolfshot's right. If the game is fun, it can have a political message.
Oh, exactly. That's fine.
Right, I mean,
as long as it's made. Oh, is it kind of like Roseanne? Like Roseanne had like 18 million viewers, but from what I saw, it looked to be put together well. Like it was funny and there was reality in it.
I enjoyed it. I watched it when it premiered.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely terrifying Hollywood right now because they're going, what the hell? We made Roseanne to actually be offensive because she supports Trump, and then people liked it. I mean, you're going to see the other channels start scrambling, looking through their old vaults for comedies that they can drag up out of the
Wait a
darkness and
second.
remake.
Wait a second. You're saying money motivates people?
Amazingly.
Well, I think that what's freaking them out is the demo. All right, when they took a look at the demographics in New York City, the Roseanne show didn't even make the top 20. In LA, it didn't even make the top 30. Yet the overall share of viewership was phenomenal. So they've got a problem, which is they're not appealing to people. All right, they're not for it to have that kind of a pull. All right, for an overall audience, and still be almost totally ignored in the top 2 markets across the United States. That's a message in and of itself, and they don't know how to handle that. Hollywood itself does not know how to handle that. One of the things that they're coming to the realization is that they used to have a place called Peoria, where they would play things in Peoria, and they would say, okay, this is Americana, this is the average American city, this is what the average Americans want. And now that they're finally coming to the realization that, oh my God, we're totally out of touch with America as a whole. We're too stuck in our bubbles, and we're missing all that revenue out there because we are. Now
Yeah, but don't you think also part of it is because people on the West Coast aren't really tuning into TV anymore? They're using Hulu, they're using Netflix.
Yeah, but it did pop onto Hulu the day after. So I wonder what those metrics, like, what those numbers would be.
I follow Roseanne on Twitter, and she said the second and third day numbers came out, and they were just as big. So, yeah, it's huge. That is true.
They hate the fact that Roseanne Barr, I watched the show since I was a kid, and I loved Roseanne. So they didn't like the fact she went from progressive to conservative as she aged. Which isn't that a Winston Churchill quote where you're more conservative as you're older? So they don't like the fact that Roseanne Barr isn't that way anymore.
If you're not a liberal by the time you're 20, you have no heart. If you're not a conservative by the time you're 30, you have no head.
There you go.
So something like that from Winston Churchill. But I think it's also the fact that she, in a lot of ways, Roseanne Barr, with the way she speaks, the way her character is on that show. All right. In a lot of ways, it mirrors Trump's personality. All right. Yeah. A very sarcastic individual, a very bombastic individual, a person who sits up there and says things off the top of their head without a filter. And I think that bothers them a lot as well.
I was going to save this article for under my cap because I was going to make a video on it. But BuzzFeed put out an article about why Black Americans should be afraid of this show or whatever.
Are you serious?
I'm serious, and it is garbage.
It was not,
oh my God.
It wasn't even. It's so
African Americans should be afraid of Roseanne?
Yeah, because of the pro-Trump message that she espouses and how they hardly gave Jackie any time to defend her stance or some shit. I haven't seen the show.
It's her goddamn show. Fuck that bitch. Sorry.
Oh, no, we're talking about that lesbian from the show who was going on. I don't understand how women could vote for Trump. They're clearly all controlled by their husbands.
I think Sarah Gibson, the Darlene, I think is who you're referring to. I think her and Roseanne in real life had an actual mother-daughter kind of bond. So I think she agreed to do it because she knows who Roseanne is. I mean, she grew up with her.
Well, Roseanne was, and still is, at least was, friends with Hillary Clinton. She even said that last year or 2 years ago.
Well, she can't be perfect.
Well, no, the crazy thing is just because it seems like it's a very real world message, because what was Roseanne? Roseanne was a show about more of like the blue collar family and stuff like that. Around the time they actually dethroned Cosby, because the Cosby show was about like what? Kind of like basically, yeah. So basically kind of like an upper middle class family, happened to be black, dad was a doctor, and Dr. Huxtable was one of the most amazing characters. He was the dude that you wanted to go to now. I mean, of course, like the actual actor Bill Cosby and stuff kind of that may be slightly tarnished now, but the point is that Roseanne, basically, it spoke to a lot of folks, and the only way I could see is basically it personally potentially causing some form of harm to them would be maybe it would give more of a pro-Trump message, and certain folks in Congress, I believe it was Maxine Waters, she basically agreed that, yeah, no, reparations seemed like a good thing, and I would support that, but we need to get back to the White House first. And if it would take away from that, technically, yeah, I could see how that article could be true.
Let's give the dragon a pudding pop.
Well, and part
Little
of the
Bill Cosby reference for those of you who are old enough.
No, and part of that BuzzFeed article goes on to talk about how Roseanne was kind of like a black woman with her attitude, with how bombastic she is and stuff, and how Black America actually watched the Roseanne show back in the day, and now they shouldn't, because now she's all pro-Trump and it's a hateful message or some shit. It's normal BuzzFeed, you know.
Just normal retards acting like retards.
Okay, but back when Roseanne show was running, were people actually doing demographics for on racial characteristics? I thought they were just doing numbers of viewership.
They were. I mean,
it was just. I mean, a Nielsen. You never knew who a Nielsen family were. They didn't identify a Nielsen family and said, "Okay, we got 15 blacks, we got 14 whites in this area." Right? They just had a Nielsen box. And they just chose a thing, and they would go out and say, "Okay, we'd like you to be a Nielsen family for a month. Would you be willing to do it?" People would say yes or no.
Yeah, you get something in the mail. We did that. They never sent us our thing, but we did fill it out and everything.
Yeah, see, so unless you send them to going, "Hey, I'm a black person, I want my box," you know, I mean, how would they know? Or I'm a white person, I want my box. I'm going to make sure Duke to Hazard is seen by everybody. You know, I mean, unless you're doing something like that.
Yeah, you don't mess with the Duke boys.
You know, I mean, I just to make that kind of a statement, it's like, okay, where's your evidence of that? You know, anyway, but
a BuzzFeed needing evidence, that is so cute.
Yeah, I guess I was asking for a little bit too much there, wasn't I?
Well, you want to move on to another topic?
Well, real quick.
Or you got to do the quote thing, though.
No, the Roseanne show still. What is so offensive about it? I haven't seen it, but from what I heard, they even have like a trans fluid fucking kid in the show. And DJ married that one black girl from the episode where he didn't want to kiss her or whatever.
Well, it's a well put together show.
Yeah, so I don't see what the hell they're freaking out about. It seems way more diverse than it ever was 20 years ago.
It was prominent pro-Trump. You got to understand that. That's prominent pro-Trump coming from Hollywood. And basically their bubble, right, just got a hole punched in it. And they're not happy with it. And their reaction is the same way as if you walked up to an Africanized beehive and you frickin', stuck a stick in it.
No, you're not going to over with a pine cone MC.
Find literally anything to just pick out, going, "Oh, that's offensive. Oh, that's offensive." They won't rest until they have every little thing their way.
Well, it conveyed a well put together message in a way that was very well received, and it just wasn't a message a lot of people liked.
I mean, I've heard clips of it. I mean, what didn't they like?
No. What I'm saying is, many people liked it. It was put together in such a way that it was just well put together and very, like, the show worked. It didn't seem forced. Like, sometimes if you're trying to quote unquote push an agenda, this just happens to be a show about Roseanne. She just happens to be a Trump supporter, and she just happens to present it in a way. And a lot of folks that perhaps do not like President Trump, they don't like the fact that many people like it.
Yeah.
I think it's just because they don't like the fact that it put it in their face that one of the simplest messages of Trump, which was in these blue collar areas. All right. They wanted jobs, and people were worried about their jobs. And the one thing that Trump focused on was saying, "I'm going to bring your jobs back."
No, and I even saw that clip too. Is that's where Roseanne and Jackie are arguing, and she's like, he was talking about jobs. If you haven't looked around, we almost lost our house,
Yes.
And she voted for Jill Stein at the last minute.
Yeah, you convinced me to vote for Jill Stein.
I know. Thank God she didn't say Gary Johnson. Like, thank you, God.
Oh, poor Gary.
Poor Gary.
But yeah, Eldritch, I remember you said you have to leave here soon. So how about that nurse story for the last one that you have? That
right. I sent you the other link, so if you want to review them, but the nurse one actually is of interest to me. Sorry about that. Racist to its core. Outrage as nurses are subjected to a new code where they must announce their white privilege before treating Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander patients. This is all down in Australia. I looked into it a bit before just to make sure the article was on the up and up. Apparently, they're not forced to say, "Hi, I'm a white and I have privilege" to everybody who's an Aboriginal. However, the way it's not legislation, it's not a law, it's a regulation, not a legislation. And it was just added out of the blue. It didn't need to be approved. Just the people in charge of, the government officials in charge of nurses just said, we're going to throw this rule out there for everybody. If somebody you're treating feels they aren't having their cultural safety protected and you haven't sufficiently announced your white privilege, they can complain about you, and punishment can be anything from a verbal reprimand to losing your job. Now, under what criteria can they complain about you? They didn't like that you were white, or you didn't give them a blowjob, or anything really. Like any criteria they want to set by the way it's written is sufficient for the nurse to fail. And I'm saying this from the point of view of somebody who used to work for a law firm. The way they wrote this, anybody can just say, by the way, I feel like I'm an Aboriginal. I don't like your whiteness. Yes, I know you're black. Doesn't matter. I think you have white privilege anyways, and they can lose their job.
Nobody would ever abuse that.
No,
it's only a matter
That's
of
a
time before the
terribly
right
written
wing
regulation.
start rolling in anyway.
What was
I
that?
mean, you talk to them, they go, "Oh, we don't require that they announce their white privilege." No, they don't. You don't require it, but if they fail to do it, they lose their jobs. So you're not requiring it; they just lose their jobs if they don't do it.
Okay, what were you saying, Wood?
I was saying it's only this is just further reason. This is just furthering us to the point. Eventually, everyone would just be so outraged that the right-wing death squads will be knocking on the door of anyone who agrees.
We need to avoid that, Wood. That's what we're going for.
No, hang on. No, you see, this is what happens when the winners give their trophy to the losers. Listen, Aborigines, we won, you lost. Black people in America, we won, you lost. Fucking suck it up and deal with it. Live in the now.
We Brits should just finish the job like we did with the Tanzanians, with the Tasmanians.
Yeah, we should have, but hindsight and all that.
We should just went all the way, just made all of Africa or like Asia, but better.
Well, here's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get together some of my black coworkers, and I want them to all sign a letter I'm going to write up that I'm going to send it to my boss because I do work for New York State, and I'm going to try to get them to pass a rule like this for me. I think that this getting passed in New York State at my job would be awesome. It would be absolutely insane because the union would completely lose their shit, and finally maybe they'll realize that the governor of the state's a complete idiot.
So you're memeing them.
All the black people I know are Republicans. All of them. You'd think they'd be Democrats considering we all have union jobs, but no, we all realize that the state is completely fucked up and nothing progressive is going to work.
Nothing progressive ever really works these days, does it?
Are they at least trying?
Who?
Well, I don't know, the union, the government, are they trying to do a good job?
New York State? No. I mean, it used to be the only people who were at this job were people who care because it didn't pay enough. And I mean, it's a job where you wipe people's asses because they can't, they're paralyzed.
Well, yeah, they have
but
special needs.
but somewhere along the line, we became the enemies. And so the state has basically forced out a lot of the people who are decent. And the only people who stay are the people who are corrupt, who know how to abuse the system for their own profit.
Are you done climbing back into bed, memes?
What? No, that was a pocket. No, yeah, wait. So they're abusing the system, so the system isn't working well. That's
in New
what
York
I'm
State?
hearing.
No, the system isn't working at all. No.
So they're using it for their own means. Well, it's not like they would actually create problems to justify their existence in which to not solve, thereby perpetuate and continue to grow their budgets.
Oh, no, that's exactly what the governor's doing. I mean, it's blatant.
Well, that's not cool. You're wasting the people's money.
I'm not in control of it, but here's the
how
problem,
do you
though.
fix it?
I'm done. I'm done being able to do anything about it. I complain too much. I have been banished to the night shift, which actually is why I have to get going, because I got to go and do the overnight until 8 a.m. and I don't get to talk to anybody anymore. Like, I can't even talk to my coworkers about anything anymore.
Well, they've done the equivalent of banishing you to the Shadow Realm.
Yeah, basically. I have been banished to the Shadow Realm.
True.
And so, speaking of, I do need to get going. I'm glad that I got to stop by for your 100th episode. I hope there's another 100 more. And Redeye, good luck to you on everything. So I got to hit the road.
All right. Thanks for coming on, man.
It's been real and it's been fun. And I think I can say it's been real fun. Been a pleasure to be here. Have a nice day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Before we move off of that topic, though, what white privilege? I keep coming back to that. Like, I don't get a check in the mail for being white. All right? I live in a fucking shitty-ass single-wide trailer. Where is my privilege? I have the privilege to live in a trailer and drink a beer? Thanks. I'm pretty sure you have that privilege, too.
Well, what gets me is, okay, you need to announce it. Now, I can understand if the person's blind. But other than that, I think they know. I do believe that people that aren't blind can identify. Okay, this person's darker than that person.
I think what they were going for, the way it was worded, is basically if the person feels uncomfortable. Basically, it kind of sounded like what they were trying to say is if the person feels like they're being treated like a lesser or something, just let them know it's okay. I think that's what they were going for. Just the way they wrote that regulation was terrible.
So basically, I'm supposed to, if I was in this situation, I would have to announce that I have white privilege. I'm superior to you. Get the hell out of here.
The way they wrote that shit was really cringe. Let's face it. If you actually said that to a person, how the fuck do you think a person, like just a general person, would feel if you actually said that to them? They're gonna fucking cringe too.
If a doctor actually said that, doctors tell people that all the freaking time.
Really?
Oh yeah. If you ever doctor, it's not about being white. They say that they're basically they do go across basically saying they're smarter than everybody. I'm the doctor. If you got a question about something,
not an untrue statement.
I didn't say it
is an untrue statement, because the doctor can say, yes, I'm smarter than you because I know how to take your liver out, and I'll just turn around and say, yeah, change the spark plugs in your car.
Well, that's the thing.
He can go for opposite and just go, look, if you piss me off, I'm going to overdose you on the painkillers.
Well, that was only in The Walking Dead. And he had the nurse do it, to be fair.
Okay, Bad Odds, what's the next one?
All right. Well, let's see if I got some more quotes here.
I just want to point out that Wolf here has pussy privilege. In fact, she's two privileges because she has a pussy and she's a lesbian. So that puts her 2 steps above the rest of us.
It kind of sounds like you're jealous there, boys.
I am, yes.
I'm just like, what? What am I? Wait.
She's also got a big pistol.
Wait. What am I privileged? Because
Well,
you have firearms.
You have a vagina and you're lesbian, so you're 2 points above the rest of us.
But I get my ass beat by black people just as much as y'all do.
Yes, but you have to remember that blacks are 2 points above you.
No, I got my ass handed to me by a couple of black African American gentlemen.
Niggers.
Because I had a rebel flag hat
Say
on.
it straight and say it true.
I had a rebel flag hat on. So that was a good time.
Yeah, that's messed up. I mean, that's the kind of crap that where they feel perfectly justified to hurt somebody else because they dare to be wearing a shirt like that.
Words are one thing. As soon as you start striking somebody, that's different.
You know, you see what happens to your country when you stop burning crosses?
Where the fuck was my pussy privilege when I was getting my ass kicked? Seriously. Where was it? No one gave a shit.
Were there people walking by when that happened, by the way?
Yeah, there were bystanders.
And they didn't do anything?
That's why they're bystanders.
Oh.
More
Well,
people,
remember,
more people now pull out their cell phones to tape, to video someone getting shot or stabbed or whatever, than to actually use it to call 911.
Well, you see, here's the problem. Because, you see, if a white guy came to Wolf's Aid, right, and hit a black guy, the story wouldn't be lesbian gets beat up by black guy. It would be white guy beats up black guy. That's the way the story would be.
It'd be white guy defends someone for wearing racist flag.
Yeah, it wouldn't even be about me being gay.
Did you try shooting them?
Well, I did lift I lifted my shirt above my waistband and I showed that I was packing. So.
Yes, but that that would actually put you in more danger. They could have thought that was a come on. So, you know, just saying.
But no, I showed, you know,
Sorry,
they saw the gun. You know, they saw the gun and it was done. It was over.
So basically, you finished it by saying, "Okay, the next thing is the finishing blow, so it's going to be permanent."
I was like, I will blow off your fucking dick.
It appears that Bullshot is more versed in the African way of speaking than Mr. Voice.
Well, considering Voice is from the Green Isles, I'm sure that he's seen a black man on television, but probably nowhere else.
The only thing the niggers
Voice, you have no
understand
idea of these blacks.
Well, actually, I'll be perfectly honest with you. In my entire life, and that's almost 40 years, I think I've seen and actually been in, you know, talked to or just been in near about three in my entire lifetime.
So basically, I was telling everybody the truth when I said you may have seen one on television.
Yeah.
So Ireland is basically racist.
Although I have to say,
it's the white ethno state. Don't you understand that?
No, seriously, Ireland is racist. Like the actual country of Ireland is racist because it's not adding more black people.
I'll tell you this. I went to London once, right? Years ago. I think I was 23 or 24, and I was going with my girlfriend. We were having a weekend away, and friggin' we went to a part of London, and it was just a sea of black. And I was like, huh? I mean, like, not to sound racist, but it was really like, what the fuck's going on here? You know?
What Voice of One isn't finishing is that, you know, he was wearing swastikas and had his friends with him in white sheets.
Oh, no, you see, I never understood that about the KKK. They're fucking morons. No, you don't go about with white sheets shouting, you know, KKK, and you don't go about with a shaved head and your fucking DM boots and stuff and go white power. No, you dress normally and then you poison their water supply. Much more effective.
Isn't that what that cult did over here? Or tried to do?
Oh, holy shit, Flint, Michigan makes sense.
No, there's the second one. But no, I was talking about it happened in California or Oregon or somewhere. This weird fucking hippie cult tried to kill a politician and poison the water supply.
I think that was in Oregon. I don't remember what cult it was.
They wanted to recreate the Jonestown Massacre. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you know, did you see V for Vendetta? Like that. Like, do the massacre, blame it on someone else, and the other people take the heat.
Well, you see, Jim Jones was a member of the KKK. I mean, who else could get away with killing that many black people and, you know, no one holding them accountable?
No, he was a socialist. That's how he got away with it. His church preached socialism.
He killed. He got away with it because he didn't survive it.
Yeah, one of the guards had to shoot him in the head.
Basically, if people don't know, Jim Jones was a cult leader. A U.S. congressman went down to, I think it was Guyana, where it was at, and
some shithole
to see whether or not, because there had been massive reports about abuse that had been going on. When he got there, he was basically executed by Jim Jones's group, who then proceeded to hand out cyanide-laced Kool-Aid to kill themselves, and so literally hundreds of people died at this.
Actually, that makes more sense now. They killed a U.S. senator, and the CIA tried to poison Jim Jones, but ended up killing everyone else instead.
Oh, that's what it was. Oh, okay.
Is that a real thing? I hope not.
I'm just saying that would be a good conspiracy theory, you know?
It would be a good conspiracy, but no, Jim Jones
here it is.
did it himself.
God damn it.
What?
That dog's gonna believe it. Just fucking with you, Matt.
Mad?
I think he's dealing with his son.
No, I was just texting 40 ounce actually. I mean, like, we've been live for an hour, dude. Where the fuck are you? No.
Wow, do you guys like hold dicks when you guys pee together?
No,
Damn.
no.
I was just texting him.
I mean, talk about,
I got a quote here that Wolfshot's gonna love.
Oh God.
Yeah, this one's great. Just a minute. I don't think you guys are gonna guess who said it. I've never heard of this fucking guy. But when a woman has scholarly inclinations, in other words, when she wants to learn, there's usually something wrong with her sexual organs. Who said that?
Every man, everywhere.
Was it a black guy? I'm going with black guy.
He's a white guy with some funny looking glasses and a mustache.
Colonel Sanders.
Charlie Chaplin.
Colonel Sanders. Howard Boyd. I don't know.
Dr. Kellogg.
Karl Marx.
Dr. Kellogg.
No, Dr. Kellogg did actually run a
Captain Kangaroo.
Captain Kangaroo. No, not Captain Kangaroo. It was Frederick. No, the last name's what gets me. Nietzsche. Yeah, Nietzsche. That was Frederick Nietzsche. Yeah.
You don't know who Nietzsche is?
I can't. That last name.
He's the philosopher that said God is dead and we have killed him or something on lines. I don't know enough of him.
Damn, Mad Dog. I'm disappointed in you.
He's the philosopher that all the edgelords love but never truly understand.
He's also the one that stood up there and came up with the theory of the supermensch.
Yeah, he's also the guy who influenced Hitler. So, you know.
So did Henry Ford, but everyone drives a fucking Ford.
That's great. Cabbage is here for 10 seconds and he already brought up Hitler.
There you go.
He always brings up World War II because he's so mad about it. He's still pissed at us because we showed up late or whatever.
Yep. So how is everybody? What did I miss?
We are well.
Not much.
Some good shit.
But you missed us talking about the Australian government cucking themselves even further down the cuck hole.
Yeah.
And hating on Jews. Happy Passover.
Talking about Jewish tricks and American shit.
We did talk about the Palestinians celebrating a Good Friday by rioting.
Killing some Jews. You know, it's cool. It's cool.
Ah, man, what do you think we should do to celebrate Good Friday? Yes, that's right, against the Jew.
Well, you know, apparently it's a job somebody has to do.
Yeah, it's like the running of the Jew.
Yeah.
with the Jew lady, and she's gonna lay a Jew egg, and it's full of money.
All right, I have one more
Borat.
quote. I have one more quote, and this time it's from an American. So, all right. Direct thought is not an attribute of femininity. In this, women is now centuries behind man. Who said it?
Hillary Clinton.
Oh my god,
Washington.
that's beautiful.
FDR.
No, it's FDR. No, not quite. It's just almost the same time frame, a little bit before FDR.
Truman.
Truman was after
Before,
FDR.
Oh,
man.
fuck.
Eisenhower.
Albus Presley.
Eisenhower was after FDR and after Truman.
Some fucking some black
Oh,
guy.
Hey, it's your fucking
Oh,
history.
Mark.
Why should I know?
It wasn't.
Mark.
It wasn't the president. You guys are getting stuck
Huey
on the
Long.
president.
Oh, okay.
Sigourney Weaver.
Albert Einstein.
No, you okay? I'll just tell you, Thomas Edison.
Sigourney Weaver was better. That would have been better. Because she's been killing aliens all her fucking life. That's who we need at our borders. She knows how to handle aliens. Get Ellen Ripley down there. She'll take care of them fucking aliens.
Make sure she has a lot of those fancy forklifts.
You see, you wouldn't have this problem if you'd nuked it from orbit, and you wouldn't have the problem.
Just to be sure.
Yeah.
Just to be sure. Game over, man. Game over.
Game over, man.
God, he died recently too.
Yeah.
I thought you could throw pebbles off the moon, and that would do it.
Throw a rock. One space rock at a time.
Say that again?
Oregon Plan 2030.
Oh, MC,
Project Oregon.
I've got to ask, did you and Cabbage argue more about Kent State after I left?
No,
Oh, okay.
because I had to go.
Because
He
that
bottled it. He
was
rage quit.
forever. That was
He
forever.
was such a pussy.
Bring it. But I did release that today. So I do have one video up now.
Oh, shit.
Oh, cool. You should have said.
Yeah, you should have plugged it.
Yeah.
I'm still
I think-
videoless.
He has one video up on its connection to his Patreon account.
I don't have a Patreon account. I have no intention of getting a Patreon account.
His organ donor account.
At least at this point. Yeah, an organ donor would probably be better.
If you put a video up today, why did I not get a notice for it? I am subbed to you, so
I hate
Yeah.
it when YouTube fucking does that.
It does it a lot.
I was surprised that I noticed that I had 6 subs. I've never looked at that before. I'm like, well, there's 6 actual subs.
well, no MC, you have 6 subs, but they're all my accounts.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Hey, if you have multiple accounts, send those bot accounts my way. No kidding.
How long ago did you put it up?
What, the video? It was this morning.
I'm going through this and I'm not seeing it coming up. 12 hours ago, 10 hours ago. What's your channel called again? It's just AMC.
Yeah. Nothing special about it.
Fucking YouTube.
All right. Well, while you're searching for his channel, I guess I'll dig up another quote here. This one's good. It should be pretty obvious who it is, really. Give me a second while it loads. All right. I don't go so far as to think that the only good Indians are dead Indians, but I believe 9 out of 10 are, and I shouldn't like to acquire too closely into the case of the 10th. Who said that?
Was it Sherman?
The trail of tears.
A very smart man.
Very smart.
It was not Sherman. It was not Sherman, although Sherman was a good guess.
I don't know. I'm not talking about Sherman. Like, give the march to the sea. Not
Come
the
on,
trail.
MC. You don't know who said that? He's probably one of your favorite presidents.
No, I'm the president's now. See,
Probably one of my favorite presidents. If you're just from your context, and this probably is. This is not one of my favorite presidents, but I'll just make the assumption. Teddy Roosevelt.
There you go. Ding ding.
Teddy Roosevelt is not one of my favorite presidents. To be honest.
I know that was a little jab. That's all.
I was gonna guess Andrew Jackson.
No, Andrew Jackson is really mischaracterized. People
I have
Play a
nothing
lot
against
of-
Andrew Jackson. I quite
play a
like
lot
Andrew
about him.
Jackson, actually.
Oh, he hated the British.
Yeah, but I like him because he is just. I appreciate him as a military commander. I don't really know about what else he did, but I haven't really read that much into him. But from what I know of him, I quite like him.
Well, he was a large man, and he was a frickin' tough son of a bitch. He had several duels in his life. He had been shot in some of the duels. Actually got shot in one of the duels, and while the bullet was in him, he took steady aim and shot the guy he was dueling with.
Wait, was he the guy that came to stay in the Union after dueling?
I hadn't heard that one, but it's a possibility.
No, I remember.
So he sounds like the American equivalent of the Duke of Wellington.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, Wellington was forever doing duels.
Could be. The big thing that caused a lot of his duels was his wife, because he quote unquote married.
Slag.
He married his wife before his wife had been divorced, and they thought that her ex-husband, or soon-to-be ex-husband, was actually dead, but he actually had just run off and abandoned her, and then later on tried to come back and get her arrested for bigamy.
Man, it's like with Byron, although I think that was because he was fucking his cousin or something. Or his sister.
MC, do me a favor and put your channel in the side chat. Well, yeah, I've been sitting searching for it, but I can't find it.
Okay.
Yeah, they want it in the chat too, MC.
I could have swore I was already subscribed.
Yeah, but it desubscribes you randomly, so, you know, it's the YouTube fetish for denying you access to stuff you like.
Well, how the hell am I still subscribed to... Go ahead, bud.
Don't subscribe to Nazis.
Don't subscribe to anyone who isn't a trans liberal.
I have to figure out how to do this.
So, what's been in the news over there in the UK, Cabbage?
Pretty much same old shit, different day.
Well, over here with a bit of a row going on. You see, there was 4 rugby stars, Irish rugby players, who were in court for apparently they were accused of raping a girl, right? And the jury, which was half women, unanimously, that means all of them found the 4 rugby players not guilty, and now there's protests in the street. And yet, one thing that really gets my go on this is that just a couple of months ago, we found out the police in England had been holding back evidence in rape cases where men were actually innocent. So when you see these people, you see them coming out when the law has been done. There's been a court. They have found guilty or not guilty on the evidence. There's fucking protest in the street. But actual cases, actual injustices, where there was evidence proving the innocence of the accused, no protest at all. That wound me up no end.
So basically, you make up stuff to charge people, to throw them in prison because he dared to speak out against the government, and then when they go to prove yourself innocent, they hide the evidence so that you can never prove yourself innocent. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Pretty much.
As I said in my video, the police are the Gestapo these days.
Welcome to the British justice system.
Well, I wish I could say something a little bit more, but as Woolshot, she sent a tweet this morning about the wife of the Pulse nightclub shooter, and she was found not guilty because a bunch of evidence was kept from the press or kept from the defense until recently, and it was outed that his father was an FBI informant, and that there was other evidence that the FBI had been withholding. So basically, the jury said, "Okay, well, you're no more trustworthy. Your words are no more trustworthy than hers," and they let her go.
I think it's about time.
Happening.
I think it's about time that people who make false accusations get taken to court for wasting, court time and everything else. I mean, it's about time that otherwise these people are going to, it's still going to keep on going. If there's no consequences for making a false claim, then, the people will never learn.
People who make false claims should be executed.
Maybe now those UK criminals will gain some respect for the law.
No, but it is getting bad. I mean, one of the things that we always used to, rely upon are things like the FBI in the United States, and it had such a great reputation. But right now, the reputation of the FBI is sinking faster than the frickin' Titanic did. And at this point in time, I'm not sure. And I'm serious about this. I'm not sure if the best thing wouldn't be just to totally disband the FBI and create a new organization entirely, and just get rid of the organization as it exists.
You've got Clinton to thank for that, haven't you? I mean, it's the whole, the debacle with Hillary and stuff. All of her. I mean, weren't they effectively acting on her behalf in some circumstances?
Oh, certainly.
They were, and they were directed by Obama to do so, I believe, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you could blame it specifically on Hillary if you want, but really it shows just how deep the corruption has gotten within that organization. And to be honest, there had been hints about this, being this bad with some of the evidence being hidden about their a few years ago. I don't know how many people remember this, but a few years ago, they were outed that their laboratory had been compromised, and they had been lying. They had lost evidence. They had been lying about evidence, etc. And it made the news, but it didn't really go very far. It wasn't very far. Now you're just watching this pile on, and and continue. I mean, to be honest, like I said, at this point in time, if I was Trump, I would order a restructure of the entire FBI and maybe remove it as an organization and put something else in its place and get rid of pretty much the entire upper echelon of the FBI.
But can you viably do that? I mean, all you're going to do is rebadge it, right? You're still going to need the same kinds of people to do those jobs. I mean, those jobs are still going to be done. I mean, isn't it basically that just be a rebranding exercise or something?
Well, not if you're getting rid of the political heads at the same time. It's got to be a twofold thing. What you're saying about rebranding is accurate, but you have to get rid of all the directors. Anybody that's in a position of a major position of authority has to go. And I realize that there's probably good people that would get separated, but at this point in time, you can't trust any of them.
Yeah, but just think that would. I mean, there's no way Trump could get away with that, and I think that would be a political disaster if he did do it, because the left would paint it just as, oh, look, he's trying to take away equality or fairness in the FBI and putting all his people in place. Politically, he couldn't do it.
He better not take a trip to Dallas anytime soon.
You're probably right about that as far as the political wins at this point in time. But at this point in time, can you trust anything coming out of the FBI?
I don't trust anything anybody says.
I mean, seriously, at this point in time, can anybody trust the FBI to actually act like a true and upstanding police organization? I can't say yes.
I think it's like this, AMC.
Could you years ago? My contention is the FBI and shot Pretty Boy Floyd right in the fucking back. Maybe that's because he is a relative of mine, but yeah, the FBI's always been fucking corrupt. They always had
that was not corrupt. Why do you bring up such esoteric things to say that this is an example of corruption?
Murder, shooting somebody in the back in an open field as they're running away from you.
That's not murder. Okay?
It's target practice.
And
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
And it's not target practice either. On a military battlefield, do you think that when you see the enemy trying to run away, do you let them run away?
Oh yeah, what'd they do to Dillinger? They could have fucking arrested Dillinger. They blew his fucking head off right there in front of a theater.
We both know that Mad Dodge, you only pretend to be this stupid.
Wow, man. That's brutal. That's more brutal than I've been today.
Yeah. Sad thing is, if only that were the case.
Yeah, fuck all you.
But the justice system, it's fucked.
I think
it is what it is. And
I think the main problem
if you
here.
looked at the normal reaction to Dankula, I mean, most people were like, "Well, he shouldn't have said that."
Well, no, I think the main problem here, MC, when you're talking about the FBI, is it's like any other organization. You have the people in power who can get away with being political, but you have the lower downs who can't speak. You like the agents on the ground can't speak up against their superiors because they know they're going to get fucked over. So I'd say it is, as you said, it's the directors and assistant directors that are compromised. But I'd say the majority of the boots on the ground aren't. If you know what I mean.
Well, as I always, I don't know about that because the normal reaction may not be what you might actually expect.
Yeah, I mean, I would hope that would be the case, and I suspect that you're probably right. I believe that, but I don't know if I believe that because I want to believe that. You know, I mean, it's at this point in time, I honestly can't trust anything coming out of the FBI, though. Honestly, at this point, I mean, how can you trust anything coming out of them? You can't trust them to even investigate, for all intents and purposes, an open and shut case on the wife of the Pulse nightclub shooter. All right, she obviously lied. I mean, it's completely obvious that she lied. She stood up there and tried to say no. He had a Facebook account years ago, but he hasn't had it since. And then they find his Facebook account, which he did close like just about a month prior to it, and she happened to be one of the people he was one of her friends on the account. All right, so you know that what she was doing. You have records of her in the car when he's casing these joints, when he was casing Disneyland earlier that day, or Disney World rather, earlier that day, right? They have pictures of her doing this kind of stuff, and yet the FBI is so corrupt that they feel that they have the need to withhold evidence, hide some of their malfeasance, instead of just putting it all out there to the point where the jury looked at it and said, nothing you say, we can't trust any of your facts now.
Yeah, but this is political again. I mean, what do you think would happen to the FBI if they put a Muslim woman on a trial?
In the United States, I don't think anyone would have batted an eye here. Honestly, here in the U.S., most people would have been batted an eye.
California would have collective fucking hypocrisy.
Muslim woman. That's probably true, but it wasn't California. It was Florida. So, I can't say how disgusted I am with things right now. I really can't.
Well, why would Trump be kind of afraid to do that anyway? If you look at his own cabinet, he has no problem firing people. He might as well do fucking, his reality show White House edition with how many people he's firing. I mean,
that's so true.
I mean, it's kind of good strategy if you think about it. Just keep throwing people out until you get the person that does the job.
Well, if that's the case, then he needs to start with the Justice Department.
Yeah, but he can't do anything with. You can only appoint judges. You can't get rid of them, can you? I mean, they're there for life.
Not judges. The Justice Department. Our Justice Department is like Jeff Sessions and the Attorney General.
Oh, right.
Please fire the Keebler elf. Fire the Keebler elf.
Fire the Keebler elf? Is that what you're saying? So you think Jeff Sessions is the Keebler elf?
Have you not seen The Family Resemblance?
I hadn't thought about it, but it's pretty good, actually.
But I actually heard something out of the UK, Cabbage. So that daughter of the spy who was poisoned, she has been reduced from critical condition. She's gonna live. What stories do you think she'll have to tell?
It's going to be interesting. Yeah, I mean that whole thing is just it.
Okay.
I don't know why, but for me, it smacks of MI5. It really does. It's always seemed like an MI5 operation.
All right. This was a nerve agent attack.
It was. I said that at the very beginning. I said it wasn't, it wasn't going to be polonium, that it was definitely a nerve agent. There's no way that you'd have the two people, reacting simultaneously on a bench in the middle of nowhere. I mean,
but
fucking nonsense.
What is she going to say? This is what she might be saying.
That's true. Yeah, very true.
I'm not trying to say that because I'm trying to denigrate her or anything, right? Nerve agent is it destroys your nerves. That includes the nerve cells in your brain.
Yep.
She may
Biggest
be
neural cluster in your body.
She may be totally messed up to where she can't even speak.
Yeah, she'd be
she
probably
might not even be able to walk. It can be that bad.
Well, you see, I have to agree with Cabbage here, because if it was the Russians who done it, these two fuckers would be dead. But let's be honest, MI5 have literally left classified files on a train.
They have totally incompetent.
So yeah. And there was a group of them, although, who got caught on a plane going to another country. Although I think that was probably a smokescreen, get one crew caught and you can send your second team in, undercover. So I'm not sure about that one, but left a fucking classified document on a fucking train.
The thing is, as well, why does it have to be so damn complicated? They start using, like the Russians using polonium, in somebody's tea, and then somebody's using nerve agents. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, surely they could have just shot them somewhere. Why go to these really bizarre extremes of so it's blatantly obvious what it is?
Because they want to test something. Okay.
Yeah, but they could do that with a bunch of hobos or something. They could find some traps and do some tests.
Let's see if I'm telling you, it comes down to let's see if we can
Homeless
do
people
this.
for burning, not for testing on.
True.
So I mean, honestly, that's the kind of thing. Let's see if we can get away with it. Let's see if they can. Part of it's to test whether or not they can detect it.
Yes, but in a test, you go, okay, let's use a small amount for just these two people. It was like what they were sneaking up behind them and dropped the jar, a liter jar of it, or something. And went, oh fuck, let's get out of here.
And why you do a test on those particular? If you only want to test something, then like you said, get some homeless people, or some prisoners or whatever, and just get them to sign up to a testing program. I mean, there's plenty of other ways of doing it. I don't see why, especially when it's a spy. There's a spy element to it, and then they include that just to kind of put the cherry on the cake. It just
or just be like America and test it on your own soldiers.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we did the same thing. We tested all the way down the West Coast, remember?
The tests that we did on soldiers were different than the tests that we did on prisoners.
Yeah, but still walked on the afterwards, didn't it?
You got Guantanamo there. I mean, don't waste your bloody taxpayers' money.
All the ones in Guantanamo have freaking U.S. lawyers now.
Well, they won't if you're dead.
Let the terrorists run off free. Test these castration methods out, I say.
That's one thing I never understood about Guantanamo, right? You bring them there and you open it up to the public. You let lawyers in and all this. The simple fact is, by now there should have been at least 137 different accidents in Guantanamo and a very small population.
See?
I mean, what the fuck are you guys doing? Seriously, how do you claim this is one of the worst deals in the world?
I think the easiest thing that would have worked, to be honest, would have been putting them all on one of our planes and then having the plane on remote control and flying it over Iran for a while.
You could fly a 747 into Mecca.
Yeah, but you have to remember, MC, planes cost money. It's easier just to drop them out the back end, and just you can cry later about
no
giving
check
them
method.
parachutes.
Well, you could say that you were trying to turn them over when it was shot down. It's an empty
right, then-
plane. Make
then
sure
you can
that
blame-
everything is taken care of at that point.
And blame it on the enemy.
Yeah.
Just do what Genghis Khan did. When your armies are marching into their territory, use them as meat shields. I'm serious. Just bloody put them in front of the army. Just meat
Speaking of
shields.
which, how many people did Genghis Khan kill? Or not Genghis Khan, but Genghis Khan or Attila the Hun? Attila the Hun. How many people did Attila the Hun kill?
Not
Nobody
sure
knows.
how much exactly. I'm not very good with statistics and such.
I don't think anyone really paid much attention to it. It was just something that he did. Just kind of like, oh, Genghis, you crazy fella.
They estimate that him and his horde killed approximately 10% of the world's population.
Well, it doesn't really matter how many. It doesn't really matter how many people Genghis killed.
Oh, hang on. Holy shit. Genghis Khan, holy crap, mate. Fuck World War II. Genghis Khan slaughtered 40 million.
Yeah.
But most of them,
He was a busy boy, wasn't he? Was it all personal, or did he have other people do some of the work for him? He sounds like Father Christmas.
All in one night.
Write down your ideas, voice.
just seriously,
the
40
Virgin
million.
Hitler versus the Chad Genghis Khan.
40 million, and he didn't even have tanks or mustard gas. You have to give it to the guys in the past, and you had to fucking do something.
That's when men were men.
Yes, exactly. Not like that poofed or Hitler.
Yeah, fag.
And here's Mad Dodge worrying about a guy running away, getting shot in the back.
Yeah, my panel is full of fucking psycho murderers.
Think I'm bad now. If you think I'm bad now, wait for me to get drunk, which won't be happening this. Which won't be happening this stream, sadly.
All right, Mad Dodge, what's the next thing? What's the next thing we could turn into some kind of mass murder story?
How about French? That'd be a good start. French
The
are always
French?
deserving a big kill. Yes.
What's your beef with the French today? What do they do now?
You don't need to be the
Existing.
French.
Yeah, they exist. Their existence is sufficient.
I did have.
Well, here's another.
Go ahead.
Well, I got another quote real quick. I've got another guy I've never heard of, but maybe you guys have. He says, so it is a he. He looks British, by the way, kind of bald. I don't know. There is a trait in the Jewish character that does provoke animosity. Maybe it's a kind of lack of generosity towards non-Jews. I mean, there is always a reason why any anti-anything crops up anywhere. Even if, like Hitler didn't just pick on them for no reason. Who said that?
I don't know, but if that's what he actually said,
great.
it sounds like a valley girl.
A stinker like Hitler. That's great.
Well, it had to be somebody after World War II.
It's like Hitler.
It has to be someone after World War II.
It's got to be well after.
Said he's kind of balding. I don't know. Chamberlain? He's got a mustache?
No, can't be.
No,
What Chamberlain would say?
mustache.
It's like Hitler. It's like Hitler, man.
Any hints?
No, I've never heard of the guy. I'll go ahead and tell you. Roald Dahl.
Oh, Roald Dahl,
I
yeah.
haven't heard of Roald Dahl.
He's an author. Hell,
Yeah,
you
he
never
wrote
seen The Man
James
Who
and
Would
the
Be
Giant
King?
Peach.
He wrote Charlie
Yeah.
and the Chocolate Factory and stuff.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
wrote.
Oh, did he write? He wrote Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. No
Yeah.
shit.
He
Yeah,
wrote the Just So stories and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, he's fucking famous. He grew up in India. He was.
He looks British to me.
Well, he is
Welsh.
British.
Welsh.
Yeah, but that's British.
The fact that he grew up in India doesn't mean anything. It was part of the empire at that point.
Yeah. Well, I mean, his family were from Britain, but I think he was born in India.
No, I've read his autobiography. I don't think he was born in India. After.
So basically, you're saying he's a colonial. You're trying to compare him to us, you bastard.
He went over there. And, yes. No, he can't be anything like you. He's an intellect. He was an intellectual.
That's really far from India. I don't get how you get that.
Yeah, but I mean, that's a stinker like Hitler. He doesn't really sound like an intellectual to me. That's a little low brow, is it not?
Yeah, I would never have associated that. I think somebody's misquoted him.
Maybe this is off a website. So
yeah,
Matt is a
sound
very
like it.
Sardonic 7. Matt is a very fertile Alice.
Yeah, Miss Alice Pouts was just asking what if that's a baby she hears in the background.
Actually, since we're on the
That's not a baby. That's a clutch of babies. Fucking gaggle.
Since we're on the quotes, who said this? As a child, I dragged a dead squirrel home on a skateboard, cut it open, and tried to look at its brain.
Oh, no,
it's Manson.
No, it's some chick. I saw that quote earlier when I was looking up quotes. Damn it, voice.
It's someone who
Scarlett Johansson.
No.
Elizabeth Taylor.
No.
Well, like Elizabeth Hurley.
Full hooks.
Think Blade 3.
Blade 3.
Blade 3.
Blade 3, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Blade 3.
I never saw Blade 3.
No, I didn't. I wasn't a Blade fan.
Philistines.
Repetitive nonsense. The same old shit.
Jessica Biel.
Ah. Like she
matters. Okay.
A very hot
No,
actress.
she was also on Alias. They would have got it if she said Alias. Or was she? Maybe she wasn't on Alias. I mean, that was a different chick that looks
No,
just
that
like
was the one who was married to Ben Affleck.
I don't know.
Okay, what's the next quote?
All right,
Oh,
I got one.
More?
Yeah, all right. So
I think we have to address
some
more significant issues, like, who shot Roger Rabbit. I mean, I think we have to get to the bottom of that first.
Well, I thought the movie covered that, right? All right,
well, I don't know. I think it was a cover-up. I thought the FBI would not.
Christopher Lloyd.
I got one, and I was kind of surprised by this one. So, but right now, when the Japs are planting their hatchets in our skulls, it seems like a hell of a time for us to smile and warble. Brothers, it is a rather flabby battle cry. If we want to win, we've got to kill Japs, whether it depresses John Haynes Holmes or not. We can get palsy-walsy afterwards with those that are left. Who said that?
Palsy-walsy, Christ.
Yeah, palsy-walsy, dude. Palsy-fucking-walsy.
John Wayne.
Yeah, Jimmy Stewart.
No, just think about the wordplay. Think about the wordplay. It is an author.
Hemingway?
Hemingway would have wrote palsy-walsy.
Yeah, just for the laughs. It got him drunk. He was fun when he was drunk.
He was always All right. Fucking Dr. Seuss, guys. Fucking Dr. Seuss. Yeah.
By the way, he was not actually a doctor.
And he obviously hated the Japanese. God damn.
Well, anybody that had served in that theater of war pretty much hated the Japanese at that point.
Well, that's true. And they were fucking nasty bastards. I mean, you didn't want to be a POW with the Japanese. That's for damn sure.
The Pacific Theater. There's a lot people don't really think about what the fighting in the Pacific Theater. It was, in the modern age, it was probably the most brutal fighting that ever took place.
And also the torture.
Yeah.
The bamboo under the fingernails. I mean, the bamboo tortures were hideous. Like they put remember there was a thing where they'd take the bottom out of a chair because the bamboo grows so quickly. It would literally grow up into your body. It's fucking hideous.
Yeah, they did.
Okay. No, go ahead, MC.
But the battlefield itself was no prisoners.
Oh, yeah.
no quarter given. I mean, and it was a lot of times it was hand to hand, and
They fought to the death.
yeah, it was nasty. All right.
Which was the island? There was a particular island that they were defending, and they literally went down to the last man. I think it was they were
Iwo Jima?
They did that on Iwo Jima, and
wasn't it somewhere like Singapore or somewhere around Singapore or something?
When they took out Okinawa, all right, 10,000 civilians jumped into the sea, off cliffs into the sea.
Yeah, fucking lemmings
with their children in their hands because they were afraid of the Americans.
Okay, who said this? Words build bridges into unexplored regions.
No, it sounds like a cunt though. Doesn't sound like the kind of person you want to beer with.
It depends on your worldview.
Words build bridges. How about the dude that wrote Where the Sidewalk Ends? What the fuck's his name? God damn it. MC, you're an American. Where the Sidewalk Ends. Who wrote that?
I had no idea.
Damn it. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's not the person you want to say it's wrong. You know who said it?
Nope.
Adolf Hitler.
Adolf Hitler said that. There you go. I was right.
And here's another one. It takes less courage to criticize the decisions of others than to stand by your own. Who said it?
Mussolini?
Hitler.
No.
Stalin.
We were talking about him earlier.
Churchill?
Nietzsche.
Attila the Hun.
Well,
who the fuck was the guy writing down Attila quotes? Like the balls of that guy.
Here's another. These are inspirational quotes that are said by people you wouldn't think they'd come from. Here's the next one. Impossible is a word found only in the dictionary of fools.
Tommy Robinson.
Hillary Clinton.
Genghis Khan.
Bonaparte.
That would make sense.
Oh, this is good. The real strong have no need to prove it to the phonies.
To the phonies. So phonies really didn't come into about, what, the 50s?
Yeah. These are inspirational quotes from people who you wouldn't think are inspirational.
Well, that doesn't sound like particularly inspirational quote. Sounds pretty banal, but...
Well, it was said by Charles Manson.
Yeah, there you go. Said banal.
I believe in only one thing, the power of human will.
That could be anyone.
Darth Vader.
Close. Joseph Stalin. Oh, this is a good one. We talked about this guy earlier too. A man's got to make at least one bet a day, else he could be walking around lucky and never know it. And this is ironic in all sorts of ways once a year who said it. We talked about him earlier, for fuck's sake.
We've talked about a lot of people earlier.
Yeah, exactly. That doesn't really close the horizon.
I'll say it again and then I'll give you the name. A man's got to make at least one bet a day, else he could be walking around lucky and never know it. And the person who said that was Jim Jones.
Okay.
I just thought that was funny.
God, you don't get a better chancer than him.
Countless millions who have walked this earth before us have gone through this. So this is just an experience we all share. Ted Bundy.
Yeah, right before on his dying. On his,
don't drink at all. Don't smoke. You must exercise and eat vegetables and fruit.
Hitler.
Definitely Hitler.
Robert Mugabe.
Oh, wow. That was a fucking bolt out of nowhere. Holy shit.
Funny.
By the way, Hitler wasn't a vegetarian. It's a false claim that he did eat meat, just not much of it, but he did.
Yes,
Yeah,
the
but
hearts
the-
of
but the
baby
meat-
Jews.
The meat were Jews. Yeah, I was about to say cooked Jew.
Well, yeah, but
Well, there
he,
was
just
a
had
lot of
he had a selective palate. Just put it that way.
well, there was a lot of slow roasted Jew about at the time, so you know,
Rotisserie.
pulled Jewish sandwiches for everybody.
Okay, Mad Dogs, what's the next story?
Well, I didn't really have very many stories. Stop it, Alex.
Oh, really? I got a story for you then.
All right. Let me.
Yeah.
In a controversial and potentially confusing decision, a California Superior Court judge has ruled that coffee sold in the state should carry a warning that the drink comes with a cancer risk. Despite the warning, however, the extent at which coffee is actually presents such a risk, if at all, is still unknown. So basically, a judge has now ruled saying you have to put a warning sticker on coffee. So all your coffee cups in California now are going to.
God, coffee.
And here I was thinking AIDS was the biggest
Mad.
problem in California.
Well, it's like that thing I posted the other day, where under 16s now they want to get everyone to have ID. So if you want to buy a Monster or a Red Bull or something, they're banning that. I mean, at least you haven't gone as far as banning it. There's a sticker to put on it, but still, what the fuck? It's crazy.
As I said in my response to you, Cabbage, we're going down the Demolition Man route.
It is. It really is. It's absolutely fucking hideous. Demolition Man. I mean, people slate that movie because it is a bit, cheesy. But by God, it was fucking prophetic.
It fucking was.
That's crazy. I mean, so now every single Seattle coffee shop, every mom and pop store now has to buy stickers.
No, just California.
Yeah, but I mean, in California, they wake up the next day and the cops coming in saying, "Why haven't you got your stickers on your cups?" I mean, that's
yes, but Portland's not in California; it's in Oregon.
What?
You said coffee shops in Portland, but Portland's in Oregon, not California.
No, I didn't say Portland.
What did you say?
Portland. I said everyone, with a coffee shop that they've got to in California. They now, like tomorrow, the police officers can come in and, arrest somebody because they haven't got their stickers. The next day after that judgment, technically anyone who was serving coffee that didn't put a sticker on it in California was committing a crime.
Well, I think that it's getting.
Where the fuck are they going to get stickers from overnight?
I think it's going to go on appeal, but there's a. There'll be a
fucking nonsense.
Period. So
bloody retarded.
Well, that's California.
It is California. That's true.
Comment. Yeah, I don't think that California shouldn't need to secede. The rest of America should just toss it out.
I want to ask a serious question. If he needed to, could Trump defederalize, defund California of federal funds?
Mm-hmm. Well, he's already threatened to do that because they claim themselves to be like the sanctuary cities and things, doesn't he?
Right. They're fighting that in court right now, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
It's got to go through the court process, and instead of fast tracking it to the Supreme Court refused to have it fast tracked so we could get it over with. So they're just letting it drag out.
Yeah, but there are a lot better solutions.
Yeah, build the wall frickin', along the border of Mexico and then turn north. I mean,
don't wait for them to secede. Just check them out.
Yes, but America.
49 stars is plenty. You don't need 50.
No, it would be interesting if they did that. One more reason to have a convention of states, we could remove states.
See, but California is anti-American at this point, AMC.
It is. I agree. And I personally would like to kick them out. I wouldn't have any problem having California removed as a state from the United States.
I just thought any state that was willing to do a sanctuary city, thing would be at risk of getting kicked out.
Well, I mean, it's going to come down to the courts and how the court decides this, and then it'll build from there. But the next thing that's causing a major issue is Trump ordering the next census to include the question: are you a U.S. citizen or are you an immigrant?
How could you get a census document if you're not a U.S. citizen? I mean, surely they're only issued to people who are registered as citizens.
You were just going from household to household and asking how many people were there. You weren't even asking where they came from.
Oh, I see. Because ours, when they do a census here, it's sent to you. It's addressed to you.
Oh, they do that as well. I mean, but they have a canvas portion of it, but they do that as well. And this is what's going to happen I can tell you what's going to happen is that people won't turn them in, all right, because the illegal immigrants aren't going to want to be known that was there. And what's more is it's a federal document, so you've got to be honest on it. So technically, they don't want to lie and then be charged with anything. So,
but don't you get fined if you don't return your census? We do over here. It's meant to be like £1,000 or something.
No, you don't get fined.
All right, we do over here.
Well, there's no way.
Well, I mean, technically, you're meant. I mean, it says that there is a claim, but it's never happened because I haven't returned a few, and nothing's ever happened to me.
But Cabbage, you get fined over there for everything. You even have to buy a license for your TV. It's ridiculous.
No, you don't. No, only if you're watching BBC. If they can't prove that you've been watching the BBC, they can't charge you for anything. It's a lie. It's one of those misnomers.
They're not supposed to charge you, but they will. And you've got to prove that you weren't.
No, they have to prove that you were. That's the whole point. You're innocent until proven guilty. They have to prove you're guilty.
Instead of going to the census rate and knocking on the door and saying, "Hello, where are you from? Are you a citizen?" Why not just have ICE undercover go to the door? Are you a citizen? They say no. Shoot them in the head. It would solve spending all those millions on deportation, on locking them up. You'd solve two problems at once.
So you basically want death squads roaming around the streets.
Why do you immediately jump?
We can take
why waste a bullet?
We
Kill
can take
people a
all
lot
the
more
immigrants
effectively with gas.
and throw them in volcanoes.
Yeah.
Kill people more effectively with gravity.
Yeah. There you go. Use nature.
All I wanted the Redeye to be was a great libertarian panel show, and I end up with that. Like, God damn it!
Well, I was thinking trebuchets. Let's make it entertaining.
Let them all go out like Simon de Montfort.
Yes.
Well, it depends on which Simon de Montfort you want. The older one was hit by a trebuchet ball, and the younger one was literally dismembered on the field by Ravage's enemy soldiers.
No, I say launch them. I would say launch them with the trebuchet.
We go the Game of Thrones route, and strip them naked and have them walk towards the border.
That's the way to get them over the wall after you build it. Is send them back over the wall.
Exactly. Send them back over with trebuchets. Just a big long line of trebuchets sending all the illegals back.
This is our immigrant return process.
And I want this is important to everybody watching. This is a libertarian stream. This is how libertarians think.
This is the libertarian solution for all of you.
Right. We want to go back to the medieval days.
Libertarians are basically one step away from the Nazi party.
Libertarian death squads win.
Hey, I've got my pug on order.
Yeah. Million pug march. Let's make it happen.
Oh gosh.
I do feel bad for you guys over there in the fucking mother country. I mean, really, you guys are really sold out completely now, haven't you? I mean,
no,
you have to have a license.
No.
TV.
That's the thing.
You can't have guns.
You see, we haven't sold out. The government has sold us out, right? Because that's the reason that we ended up voting to get the fuck out of Brexit. I mean, even in spite of all the shit that they did, the people haven't sold out. The government has sold out the people, and it's been doing it consistently. You know, like fucking ever. Well, since World War II.
Which is why Americans should be sending us guns, hint, hint, so we can defend ourselves in the country.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I want a 1911.
Are you trying to turn us into gun runners? Is that what's going on now?
We did it for every other country. Well, I mean, why would you stop now?
Why the hell not? Yeah. Hey, fuck it. Well, we did it for you during the bloody the American Civil War. So you do us the same favor back.
All right, yeah. I got your back. I'll meet you in the Caribbean, Cabbage.
All right. Come packing.
Oh my goodness! See what you've done to your stream. Good grief, Mad Dodge. It's a new section for it.
Yeah, gun running in America.
You've got the angry Brit, you have the Death Squad Brit, and then you have the lunatics. Oh, and then you have the Irish guy.
I thought the Irish guy was the lunatics.
No. Remember the joke. The Scottish guy.
Scottish guy.
Yeah, he is that Scottish guy. That should be dude, your second channel right there.
Yeah,
that's bigotry.
The only thing
it is. That's that's racism, man. That's racism.
The only thing the Irish and the Scottish hate more than the English is each other.
Actually, that's not true.
No, it is. Otherwise, you wouldn't have Rangers and Celtic wouldn't be at each other's.
No, you have to remember. Again, I'm from Northern Ireland. You know, we're a whole separate fantasy land by ourselves. You know,
bloody mix.
No. I mean, he's as British as I am. I mean, I'm English first, but he's as British as I am. I've
never lived in another country, and yet I was born with 2 passports and 2 nationalities.
See, schizophrenic too.
I have a slightly different story, which is quite interesting. This gentleman.
We'll be the judge of that. Thank you.
It's not the normal kind of story that goes on the Redeye. This gentleman was an accountant, and he was at his job when he got a call from an NHL franchise saying, "Hey, how would you like to be our backup goalie, our emergency goalie?" Because they had lost their 3rd string goalie. And he was like, "Okay." So that day they said, "Okay, we're going to sign a 1-day contract. You come in, you sit down, you go on the bench," and lo and behold, both the other goalies got hurt, and he had to go in there for 1 day. And he's an NHL goalie now.
And this is important. What? I don't get it.
I didn't say it was
relevant
important
to anything.
I said it was different.
You said it was interesting.
No,
it's not.
It is interesting. You know how cool that would be? Could you imagine being not even a minor league player? This guy, I saw the story. This guy played for a recreational league, right? And so he's a nobody. And they signed him for 1 day, and now he's in the NHL, which is the 4th most popular sport in America. That's fucking great.
Hang on. You said he was an accountant.
Yes, he was an accountant. He was at his job as an accountant.
Oh, that's great. What we need in the NHL? More fucking Jews.
He said accountant, not lawyer.
I don't know if he's Jewish or not. I do know that he got put in the game and he stopped all 7 shots on the goal.
Yeah, he can't be a Jew then.
He was. He just imagined there were pennies.
Yes. Grab the gold.
It's your stream's out of control now, Bad Dog. There's no breathing.
This is what anarcho-capitalism would look like if it was a stream.
No, this
is like herding fucking cats.
No. We have an arbitrator.
No. This is what Stormfront would look like if they were allowed to stream.
Look, no Jews were harmed in the making of this production.
Other than memes who disappeared. memes totally disappeared, so I don't know what happened to him.
Yeah,
and
so did Wolfie.
The SS
too.
got him.
Wolfie bailed.
Cabbage attacked him.
I didn't attack. I didn't do nothing. I didn't do nothing.
Cabbage ate him.
He got fucking. There was a hit out on him from the Irish mob. He ratted on Whitey. You know?
You're talking shit about Northern Ireland.
The Irish Mafia.
The IRA.
Well, yeah, supported by
No.
Boston. Yeah.
Well, no, I
Good
was
old America.
referring to the Irish mob and Whitey Bulger. But you know, if you wanna make that a slant against our stormtrooper here and the IRA, we can.
Isn't the Irish mob just 5 drunk guys and a guy with a baseball bat?
And they can never remember what they're meant to be doing.
Actually, funny story.
Really? Again, we'll be the judge of that.
Well, it's funnier than MCs. But
Yeah. No, he said it was
Funny.
interesting.
I said it was.
He said interesting, and it wasn't.
you see the thing, you guys go on about, your mobs. You have what do you call them? Fucking what the hell do you call them? The Italian mafia, and all the things. Oh, we ran this and stuff.
Cosa Nostra.
We were so badass. You know what? We used to do over here. Well, I never did this, of course, but the members of the actual criminal gangs over here, how we used to, the people who were involved in them gangs did.
We evidently not me.
They actually used to get a 6-inch nail, right? Sit a guy down in the chair and actually hammer the 6-inch nail down through the kneecap. That's how some people were kneecapped over here.
That's what my Irish friend told me. Like they'd always threaten people by going, "You want a problem with your kneecaps? There, buckle."
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And there's also
if I can do the accent correctly.
And the
if you didn't
Glasgow
understand that.
kiss. What's the
yes, I
small
have to
one?
give 110 points there. That was a very good Northern Ireland accent. It was Belfast.
Northern Iron. That's all you need to know. You got to say Northern Iron instead of Northern Ireland.
Oh God. Oh, Tariq Nasheed freaking sent the tweet.
Did he say something about
the Roseanne Barr reboot got huge rating because she was playing a Trump supporter? Systematic white supremacy is becoming mainstreamed again, and Trump supporter is now code for suspected white supremacist.
I have nothing against the fella on his claims of white supremacy.
I have one thing.
But someone really needs to.
I have one thing to say to him. I have one thing to say to Tyreek. Shut up, Tyreek. Just shut up.
You
well,
join
if you don't shut up, don't shut up, we'll cut out your tongue. Or we'll get apple with a nail.
I got some 2x4s. I'll make a pretty cross for you. It's Easter.
No, don't crucify them, because then we'll turn them into a martyr and they'll have like some kind of religion about
suspect that they're going to ask for you to put an age restriction on this content.
Wrap him in bacon.
Wrap him in bacon. Why bacon?
I don't think that he's a muzzy. I think he just has a muzzy name.
Well, I mean, he's got religious.
Lots of them have Muslim names. Like there was a bloody white American general in the World War II called Omar Bradley. Omar's an Arab Muslim name.
Mm-hmm. Did he eat bacon though? Did he like a bacon butty?
I don't know, but
Omar Bradley. Omar Bradley was one of our best generals. In fact, in many ways, he was a superior tactician to Pat.
Did he have a bacon fetish?
Yeah, I like Bradley. I never said anything bad.
Oh, is that Bradley, the guy they named the tank after then?
But the armored vehicle.
He was MacArthur, except not a nuclear madman.
Oh no, he was completely different. I mean, it was night and day. Omar Bradley was named Omar because he had one of his ancestors, had fought in Tripoli during the Barbary Coast Wars, and somehow that man had gotten a name by the one of the sultans down there or something, and it carried on as a tradition in his family.
Oh, right. Yeah. So it's kind of like Lawrence of Arabia.
Yeah, just it's
Yeah.
a strange thing. But that's how he got his name Omar. I mean, it's an unusual story.
Yeah.
But
You know, apparently, speaking of Lawrence of Arabia, not sure this is true, but apparently, what's the name of the guy what's the name of the Arab guy that was with the Arab League, like Faisal or something? I forgot his name. What was he again? Do you know his name?
Omar Sharif.
Yeah, I think it was
Faisal.
Sharif.
Omar Sharif.
Yeah, I think it was Omar Sharif. I forgot who it was, but one of them had when his Rolls Royce had on it had the emblem of a Scottish Highland clan, and apparently he didn't have it because he was related to the Highland clan anyway. He just had it because he just liked the symbol for no reason.
No.
So the Scots burn it down.
The Scots should file for cultural appropriation.
Ah!
Yeah, they would these days. Originally, they'd have gone down with claymores and beat the living shit out of somebody. Now they'll just sue them because
They can take our symbols, but they can never take our freedom.
well, apparently they can. Speak to Dankula.
They can take our pugs.
Yes, they
You
can
do
take our pugs,
understand,
but they
Bud.
can never take our freedom. Has nobody done a meme of that? They
I'd
can
have
take
to
our pugs,
point
but
out,
they
Bud,
can never take our
I
freedom.
did a meme in the Dankula Discord when the news came through of you know the scene. I'll just send it to you in Mad Dodge's Discord later. Doesn't matter.
Cool.
I have to say, Wood, when you were doing your Scottish accent, it still sounded Northern Irish.
I was just trying to do a not Liam Neeson. What was it? Bloody Mel Gibson accent, not a Scottish accent.
Well, he's fucking Australian, so that doesn't
Yeah.
help.
I mean, my cousins are Scottish, so I think I'm not sure how good my Scottish accent is, but meh. Why are you all expecting me to do it now?
Nope.
Yeah, we're waiting.
No, not at all.
All right, what do you want me to say?
We don't. Seriously, nobody cares.
Well, okay. You don't care.
Damn, Kevin.
I like to prance around the island wearing wearing a dress and eating a sheep stomach.
So, I mean, once again, I think the Million Pug March should be a thing. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but then the
Yeah, but they
feminists
need
would
to
hold
all be in tartan as well. Tartan
Yeah, but
pugs.
then the feminists would hold a Million Cat March, and only 4 of them would need to show up.
That's true.
The only thing marches are good for is driving a van through.
Oh.
Chirp of peace.
I love you.
Speaking of people, like large amounts of people gathered in one place, you mind if I tell this story?
We don't know. You haven't told it yet.
Well, so I was basically at the Good Friday Mass at the Catholic Church today, and you know how at church you're all expected to go, oh, after you, and be good Christians and such, right? Well, the second the door opened to the bloody church, everyone was trampling over one another to get inside. There was no Christian virtue or anything. Like, they literally pushed an old man out of the way to get inside. Like, what the hell is this? Good Friday. I mean, Jesus already dies on this day. We don't want any more deaths by trampling. Thank you very much.
Holy shit! Is that like your guys' Black Friday, like it is over here? Because we do that in the supermarkets.
Most of the people in my church in where I live are Indian, and Indians, and even though I like them, they don't know how to wait in line,
That's true.
and they bloody just mob everyone.
Yeah,
I mean, I like the Indians, but they have no personal space and they can't wait in line. They don't know what a queue is.
No.
You think all those years on the British and the British rule, not
Under
oppression,
British
but
oppression
why
is
was
what you were going to say, wasn't it?
Yeah.
no under why
was.
would I
You
say
were.
oppression? It was we did good things for them. They should be thanking us.
No, we did. No, we left them with a whole fucking infrastructure and things. And,
Exactly.
You know,
They wouldn't have those trains they love so much without. I mean, you think that all those
Yeah, no,
years
that's
under
the
our-
problem. The trains that they've got, they still got from back then. They didn't bother to develop anything. You know, they're still working on fucking steam trains.
India
So-
world superpower India world superpower by 2020.
Have you tried eating them?
There's no bullet trains in India. That's for damn sure.
Exactly. Like you think that all those years in the British rule would teach them how to queue properly, but apparently they needed another Indian mutiny to learn how to do it.
Just need to. Well, it's the gurus. I blame the gurus myself. I do. Failure to educate.
Well, it's kind of funny because the same thing was said about Africa after colonialism. There's a documentary where this Chinese guy is interviewing people, and he's like, "Well, you guys were left with all this stuff, and you just let it go to hell, and now we're here scooping up what's left." And it's
wasn't
really
that a PYT one? That was a PYT thing, wasn't it?
I just think that Africa is just destined to be colonized by foreign powers at this point. Like, for the next several years, it's just probably just going to be foreign powers' playground because they're too busy civil warring amongst themselves to do anything.
Yeah, but of course we get blamed for that because they say that it was the, colonialism that when we left, we created divisions and everything. You know what I mean? It's always somebody else's fault for whatever.
Success breeds jealousy, my friend. Success breeds jealousy.
Well, yeah. And the thing is, anyway, when British was in India, when they went in, they were dealing with the Maharajas and things. How the Maharajas dealt with their own people had fuck all to do with us.
I mean, we kind of just did what Hernan Cortez did with the Aztecs. We basically just played them off against each other. We allied.
Yes, but we didn't give them syphilis.
Smallpox is what you're thinking.
No, we give that to the Americans.
No, smallpox was given to the Indians.
Let's be honest. The Indians had more diseases.
No, I mean Indian Indians, not American Indians. We didn't give the Indian Indians syphilis.
Yeah, they gave.
So we're not like Cortez. That's what Cortez and his minions did in South America.
Hey, but if syphilis, if bloody smallpox stops human sacrifice, then it's a necessary evil, I say.
Well, I think human sacrifice would have eventually, failed because who's going to end up killing themselves? Well, I mean, who's going to end up killing themselves?
You never
the
know.
Aztecs, up to the point where the Spanish conquistadors landed.
Hey, the Jewish also did human sacrifice, and King Solomon's fucking temple.
Okay.
Well, you've digressed a little bit, but I think this Africa topic is really kind of an important one, especially with what's going on in South Africa. I mean, are they really going to murder all the white farmers? That's what the protests are saying. I mean, this shit's getting insane.
Well, Twitter just said that there's a white South African farmer dying at one every 5 days right now.
Mm-hmm. It's like this. I read a story there just the other day. I was going to make a video about it. I haven't got around it yet. And what these scumbag fucks did, these native Africans, they went in, they got his farmer and his wife and their son, right? They're lucky their daughter was away. They basically tortured the father to death, then shot him. They raped the wife, beat her to death, and they literally put a big thing of water and boiled their son to death. This is the sort of savages we're talking about.
Yeah,
Right, a fucking lot of them.
Well, it's also why it's the immigration thing. This is why you got immigrants now that are coming over. They have absolute contempt for life. They really they come from savage environments like that, and they're meant to assimilate into a civilized society.
The only way to beat a savage is to kill a savage. I'm
These are
sorry.
really
Well,
thick.
Well, you can
Well,
try and
no,
educate them,
I
but that
mean-
means you got to colonize them, you know, because they're not going to do it themselves, are they?
Hopefully,
Well, what
Give them a
do you
book
mean
and try
col-
to eat it.
hopefully,
cabbage? What do you mean by colonize?
we're
Well, I mean, you know, if you're going to look, you try.
Well, are we going to re-colonize South Africa? Are you saying the British should go back?
No, I'm
Yes.
just saying that the only way that it, you know, that it's going to get fixed, if you don't want, you know, these, I mean, that's what they are, savages. If you don't, you know, because these people are ill-educated, they're basically just living like people did, you know, since prehistory.
What's funny is that the people that are doing this, Bantu speaking Africans, aren't actually native to South Africa. They bloody migrated there thousands of years ago. And the
Well,
people
here's the
that
thing.
Well, my brother lives in South Africa. My half brother lives in South Africa. He was he was in Kenya. Yeah, he was in Kenya for a while, and that all kicked off as well. So he moved from Kenya and he went down to South Africa, and now he's looking to, you know, obviously get out of there. But
well, what is
bullshit.
people? What's people like CC, you know, conscious clericals, supposed to do? I mean,
Well, exactly.
That's where they grew up, right? That's where they. That's all they know. Is he supposed to just pick up and leave?
If he wants, if he wants to survive.
Yeah, it's the same thing as they did with Nigeria and all of these other countries. They are, and what happens afterwards, right? They throw out all the white farmers, and then the lazy fucking savages can't make any food out of anything.
The first thing that happens,
and so then they end up having to call back people. In fact, there's calls from Africa for farmers to return because they can't fucking work the farms.
That's in Zimbabwe.
There's no organization. Zimbabwe, yeah, that's the one.
But the problem is none of them are going to go back, because what happened when they removed all the farmers? All right, the first thing they did wasn't they confiscated the land, but all the whites left. And what was the next thing that happened? Mass execution of some minority black African tribe. That has happened every single time, where it descends immediately into the most powerful tribe, goes out there and tries to exterminate
It's because to hold them together, they all need a common enemy. So once that common enemy is gone, they find another, and then they find another, and they find another, until basically they just keep dividing themselves to the point that they're just completely, utterly.
And the thing is that this is the cultural diversity that we're incorporating, is tribalism. You know, this is exactly the kind of I mean, pre-medieval time, you know, tribal, well, almost like clans in Scotland or whatever, you know, going back to those days. Why are we importing something that we've already had, you know, got over it and improved? You know, and we're meant to think that it's somehow, you know, diverse.
It would be like a modern day English person identifying as East Angle or West Saxon or Northumbrian.
Yeah, or Sussex.
And then suddenly we all start going, oh, he's a Northumbrian, get him, or he's an East Angle, get him.
No, I'm a Lancastrian, god damn it.
Then you count as a Northumbrian, or it would first probably be the Normans, and then it would be the Northumbrians, and then it would be the West, and then it would be the Angles, and then the Saxons would turn on each other.
Yeah, but here's the thing: when you're talking about theirs, see, these white South Africans are not leaving. They have guns. They have survival tools. They have hydroponics.
Oh no, they are leaving. Seriously, they are. Like I said, my brother wants to leave, but he's not, and you know, he wasn't born in South Africa. I mean, he went over there for work.
Have you seen the clips from the Lauren Southern documentary that hasn't been released yet? She's released from it.
I don't know. Well, like I said, I'm just basing my what I know from my brother who lives there. And he's saying that there are people who are packing up and they are just getting the fuck out. A lot of them are going to Australia and New Zealand. But yeah, they are. They're packing up en masse. A lot of them are. They're just saying, fuck it. You know, enough's enough.
There is some groups, though, that are preparing to leave where they're at and go regroup somewhere and set up an area of control. How do you think that's going to work out? That sounds dangerous.
Yeah.
One of my dad's friends, and subsequently my friend, because for some reason I get along with all my dad's friends, is actually a South African. I have to ask him about this at some point. But according to him, it's not as bad as your well, he has the money to make it not as bad as it is. It's not as bad as if you're an upper class, but apparently it's really bad for the white farmers. And he has to deal with all of these people every day. And when you try to debate them, they always use, this newspeak of theirs. They always, for example, when you say something like conquest is not there's a difference between conquest and I don't know, but basically they'll respond to every one of your arguments with, oh, that's a colonial argument.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, everything's colonial.
That's not debunking the argument. That's just calling it something. It's like calling someone that's a racist argument. Go fuck yourself and come back and talk to me when you have a proper argument, you cuck.
Yeah, it doesn't validate your side.
Apologies for language.
It's another label. It's just, again, there's label wars, right? It's pathetic. But no, I mean, South Africa and most of Africa, yeah, it's totally fucked. And they're going to be as destabilized as their civilization, for want of a better word, permits it. And none of them seem to, I mean, they can't even, create a viable African Union. That was meant to have been created, back a few years. And they can't even agree amongst themselves. Any of you remember seeing there was a guy I think it was in the South African Parliament, and he's just making whooping noises and stuff on the mic.
Is there any?
It was bizarre.
Is there any of the Bathas in Parliament in fucking South Africa left? Is there any, or whatever they call themselves? The white South Africans. Is there any representation?
The Boers, you mean?
The Boers.
The Dutch.
Yeah,
the Dutch.
Well, not all white South Africans are Boers. I think the Boers are the ones descended from the Dutch settlers.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm not sure about the political setup there. All right, I'm kind of ignorant to that. But is there any white representation? Is what I'm asking. Do they have any voice? Because what I see is white land confiscation and murder. It doesn't seem like they're represented at all.
I honestly don't know.
Cabbage, do you have any idea? Is there any white representation in South Africa?
No. I mean, in the government, they still have white people within the, the departments or whatever. But no, I mean, pretty much, after Nelson Mandela, and it all, kind of flipped. So, I mean, in terms, see, they do have power because they do still control the money and the means of production, shall we say, and the land ownerships. But that's this is the big problem, is all of these land grabs and stuff. And if South Africa starts doing that, and I remember seeing a speech from one of I think it was a South African, who said that we don't want to kill all the white farmers yet. You know what I mean? Like it was a threat that's still to come. There is no doubt they want to kick them all out. They want them removed.
Yeah, isn't that the same guy that said, I'd rather kill myself than commit suicide? Julius Madema, or whatever his name is.
Possibly. I don't know if it's the same guy, but I mean, you remember the guy who said, we don't, but he put the yet at the end of the thing, and it was like, okay, this guy's clearly a fucking fruitcake. But yeah, I mean, if you want to look at racism in anywhere, you just look in South Africa. And it was, we had the Nelson Mandela thing. Well, let's see if fucking Bob Geldof gets up and starts doing a pop concert on behalf of the white people of South Africa who are now being totally persecuted. Let's see fucking Bono get up and start chanting some bullshit, for the sake of the white South Africans.
Well, apartheid wasn't a good thing. I'm sure.
But now there's a new apartheid. It's just apartheid is only a concept. This is now a white apartheid. So they've gone from black apartheid to white apartheid. Never
it's worse.
Nobody cares because of colonial guilt.
Mad Dodge, explain.
Huh?
What is bad about apartheid? The same thing that was bad about segregation.
Colonialism. Colonialism is actually you know, say what you want about it, but it's you know, it was beneficial to the people overall.
To be fair, I don't think I said
You're
apartheid
cutting
was
in
of
and out.
segregation. They
You're
are the
cutting
same.
in
They are
and
the
out.
same.
You're cutting in and out, Mad Dodge.
He's fine here.
It's kind of cutting in and out for me as well.
Yeah.
All right, is that better?
No.
No,
No,
now you're gone crackly.
Mad Dodge is on crack. Okay,
he's eating
all right.
pork.
While he can't speak, let's all talk shit about libertarians.
We talk about shit libertarians whether he's here or not. What are you talking about?
But now we exploit this opportunity and crank it up to 11.
It's better if he's here to serve as an example.
Exactly.
No, but
Fun to
then
see
if
the
we
reaction.
if we all do it now, then you'll have to
Well,
wait, and then
but
you'll have to
beyond-
simmer for a bit.
What Cabbage, you're British. What
Yep.
do you honestly think
Proud of it.
British colonialism was really all that bad?
No, British colonialism, in actual fact, I mean, most of it, when it first started, it was purely mercantile. You know, there was no troops or anything. When people first ventured out, you know, back in the 1600s and 1700s to create the empire, they didn't have any military backing. You know, there was nothing. You made a deal, and if you could get, you know, like if you could trade with people, and then eventually the crown would say, okay, this is a, you know, valuable enough taxable thing, and then they'd go and send over a few troops. But there was pretty much none of that at the beginning of, you know, the colonial expansion. I mean, come on. I mean, it's weird, isn't it? If it was so bad, why was it that the Indian people actually wanted to offer the Queen Victoria to be Empress of India? You know, that was something she was offered. She didn't take it. She didn't demand it.
Would you
She
say
give it to herself.
overall was it beneficial for the colonized?
Well, I mean, it would have been if they'd have taken advantage of what they had. You know,
Yeah,
they didn't
the
realize
answer
what
to
they
that
had.
the answer to that is dual forward. Yes, sometimes no. I mean, some took advantage of it, some didn't. You can't say that Hong Kong didn't take advantage of it.
Exactly. I mean, look at Hong Kong. I mean, that's the financial powerhouse of the region, really. You know, there's loads of things, but it depends on the people whether or not they took advantage of what they were given. You know, like with India, they had all the infrastructure and everything. We left, and then, by the way, don't forget, you know, I mean, we had a few conflicts with the people, but there wasn't like a major, you know, war that existed. There were conflicts that happened in different regions, and then we left and we gave them their freedom. And it was on the back of the British people who said, we want to give these people freedom because of things like, you know, the salt mine protests and things, you know, seeing these passive people getting hit in the head and Gandhi and all that nonsense. So they got their freedom, and then what did they do with all of the things that they had? They did nothing with them. They didn't enhance their own quality of life. You know, it's not our fault that they didn't utilize what we gave them.
The cherry on the cake is that we were the ones that created India. In India as an entity wouldn't exist if it was because of us. I mean,
but technically we also created Pakistan because originally they were both one country. We did the subdivision when we left.
No, but even though we did the subdivision, if it wasn't for us, it would still be like Punjab and Mysore and all these little statelets everywhere. And even now they're trying to like they're trying to like divulge into every little bit. And you have like they're all different. It's not like one Indian identity. It's all these different. There's like Bengali, there's Punjabi, there's Rajput, and all this stuff. It's not one common Indian identity, and they're all. I mean, I think that they all identify as Indian, but then there's also the different little cultural differences.
Well, yeah, there's the religious differences because you had the Hindus and the Sikhs. You know, and that's one of the reasons that, you know, Britain managed to manage the place, because you use Hindus to police Sikhs and Sikhs to police Hindus, and that was part of the problem as well. You know, is to break that.
The Sikhs were some of the best soldiers in the British Army.
They were. Yeah, until they found out they were using pig fat on the bullets,
that wasn't the
which
Sikhs,
wasn't
the
being
Sikhs.
done. Oh, wasn't it?
No,
That
that
was
wasn't-
of course,
no, that
yeah, that
wasn't-
would be the Hindus. Yes, of course.
That wasn't the Sikhs.
Well, the Muslims.
The Sikhs can eat whatever the Sikhs can eat what they damn please. In fact, they're quite simple. They're basically the Christians of the major Indian religions, if you don't count the Christians.
Yeah, the Hindus are the veggies, basically.
No, that's the Jains that are strict veggies. The Hindus aren't allowed to eat beef.
I don't. Well, I've known a few Hindus, and they tend not to eat any kind of meat.
They don't.
Not even
That's just
chicken.
because that's just how. Yeah, they usually don't eat meat, but they usually don't eat meat at all. But they just don't. They usually just don't eat meat altogether. But they're allowed to eat anything except beef, I think.
Oh, right. Well, yeah, the cow thing, obviously. Yeah, the cow, sacred animal. But all right, I thought they were just natural vegetarian. All of them.
Yeah, the holy cow.
So Voice and MC have abandoned us. Should we
Yeah,
shill
they
the
have.
link in the chat and let all the autists flow in?
Yay!
No, there's only like 4 people in there. I don't think anybody's gonna join. I think we might wrap up actually. But
yeah. Boring.
Yeah.
Oh God, it's Friday night.
It is Friday night.
Let's
It is
celebrate
Friday.
your
Fucking
let's
lightweight.
celebrate your 100 subscribers somehow.
Well, it's not 100. It's the 100th episode.
I thought it was 100 subscribers.
Nope.
No. Well, I did say I would be here, didn't I, Mad? I promised I'd be on the 100th. So, and then again, he said that Wednesday was going to be the 100th. You lying bastard.
Yeah, shit came up. Life
Well,
happens.
at least I got here. I haven't been around in a while because it's always on when I'm asleep.
Yeah, you got to wake up.
Time zone privilege.
Sure. Time zone privilege to miss the
Hang on, well,
autism.
which time zone are you in, Wood?
Sand nigger time zone.
Well.
Is that an official one?
You're about, what, 3 hours ahead of me? 4 hours?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, what, now it's like 5, 6 a.m. or something?
4 a.m. 4:35 to be exact.
Bummer. Yeah, that sucks. Sucks to be you.
What's funny is that I'm actually usually up at 4 a.m. The streams are usually on at 9 a.m. when I'm asleep.
Yeah, well, weekends, surely.
But no, after party in the Discord. If you guys want to hang out, Wood, you can't talk in Discord. Is there a real?
We'll just go in after hours. Just why do you have to go into Discord? Just turn off the live thing, and we can carry on.
All right. Well, this has been the Redeye stream, the 100th episode.
Wait,
Here's to 100 more. Here's to 100 more. Go subscribe to Mad Dodge Productions. That's my main channel. I hope to be streaming there again sometime soon. MC has a fucking video up. That's a miracle. Go find MC and subscribe. Cabbage is still a cunt without any content. Say goodnight, Cabbage.
Good night, Cabbage.
All right. Thank you, Omega, for being our resident troll. I appreciate it. Any last thoughts, Omega?
Congrats on 100.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll see if YouTube allows us to go 100 more. We're out of here. Good night and good luck.